Apocalypse begins by collecting S.S.S level cards. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 426 explodes at a glance. Don't just stand there, run. Not only Yang Mingsu, but also the rest of the men and women in the team shouted. But it was too late. At this moment, hundreds of black shadows rushed out from the other end and surrounded everyone. This was a premeditated sneak attack. Run one more for me to see. I like to do two things most in my life. The first thing is, of course, to have sex with beautiful women, and the second thing is to watch the prey struggling to death. The screams before death are the most beautiful melody in the world. The big Buddha smiled and slapped his white belly hard. It was hard to imagine that a person's laughter would be full of evil and obscenity. It's over. It's all over, including Yang Mingsu. More than a dozen people all looked pale because they knew that the best result waiting for them next was death. Yang Mingsu, I advise you not to struggle in vain. Bring the girls in your team and come to serve the Buddha. If you really serve the Buddha well, maybe the old Buddha will spare your life. Chen Batian laughed evilly. We would rather die than serve some shitty Buddha. Yang Mingsu suddenly thought of the news from a nearby shelter not long ago. In a shelter with a population of nearly 300 people, all the men were tortured and killed overnight, and the women also suffered inhumane torture before they died. It is said that the person who did it was an extremely fat man who looked like Maitreya, Sister Ming. Looking at the situation today, we can't win anyway, so it's better to surrender. Maybe we can save our lives. Falcon suddenly spoke. His calves were trembling, obviously scared. Yang Mingsu slapped Falcon hard on the face and shouted angrily, Falcon, are you crazy? Can you live if you surrender? Falcon was a little confused, but he still covered his face and stammered. Didn't they say that, as long as you serve the Buddha well, you can exchange your life? As the city lord, shouldn't you think about us? What the hell are you talking about, sister? Ming has always treated you as her own brother. How can you say such things at the critical moment? Falcon, you are a coward. You usually talk so righteously, so loyal and unparalleled, but you become so cowardly at the critical moment. I really misjudged you. Both men and women in the team expressed their contempt for Falcon's statement. Coward, what's wrong with being cowardly? Falcon was both ashamed and angry and rushed out of the team to Chen Batian's side. Damn it, we have finally survived until now. Who wants to die now? Fuck, I just asked you to sacrifice yourself. Why are you hesitating? Why is your thing so precious? What era is it now? Why are you pretending to be a chaste heroine? Well said. Chen Batian clapped his hands and laughed wildly, and the Buddha also patted his belly wildly. Okay, you said it very well, Buddha. I like your shameless and shameless look. How about this? When we can catch them later, Buddha will let you play for the first time. How about it? I see that you also have some special ideas about Yang Mingsu. Are you serious, Buddha? Falcon was overjoyed and knelt down in front of Buddha, kowtowing wildly. Buddha, from now on, I, Falcon, will be the most loyal dog under your command. Woof woof, woof woof. Ha 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 ha. Good. Teachable. Buddha narrowed his eyes into a line, very satisfied. I'm really blind. Yang Mingsu was so angry that her fist bled. It's getting late. It's time to go to bed. Let's do it. At the command of the Buddha, more than a dozen elite soldiers rushed forward. At this moment, a lazy voice sounded from the lakeside. Humans are indeed the most unscrupulous creatures in this world. Am I right, Falcon? Falcon, what? Ex-Ayushuki Qin Lang smiled and put away the fishing rod and stood up. It's late at night, making a lot of noise here, scaring away all the fish. You have to pay. Who the hell are you? Little awakener, do you have the right to speak here? Chen Batian narrowed his eyes, not taking Qin Lang seriously at all. As a noble immortal, he could kill more than a dozen Qin Langs with a slap. Qin Lang was amused. Big head, give them a little shock, but don't kill them all at once. Big Head God had been standing beside Qin Language. He turned around reluctantly after hearing this. There was no other special reason. The main reason was that these people were too weak. It was too difficult to teach them a lesson, but not kill them. Fuck you. Do it. Chen Batian roared, and the elites who had stopped moving rushed forward point. But the next second, something happened that shocked everyone. Wow, Master, the big head was so scared that he fell to the ground. I didn't mean to do that. I really didn't mean to do that. They are so fragile. What happened? Why did they explode? After being looked at, Gao Yang, Mingsu and his group were so shocked that their heads were buzzing. This was beyond their understanding. This is just the first time. It won't happen again. Qin Lang shook his fingers. Thank you, Master. The big head god hurriedly got up and looked carefully at the remaining nearly 100 elites. There was no suspense. Wherever the god looked, everyone exploded and lost their fighting power. Chen Batian's body trembled. What the hell is this? The Buddha is also horrified. He has never seen such a fighting method. Can his eyes kill people? As an immortal body, the Buddha still has a certain sense of danger. Seeing that the situation is not good, he turns around and runs away. But it's a pity that even the first god can't find a way to survive after being targeted by the gods, not to mention his small immortal body. Ah, no. Help. As soon as the Buddha flew a few hundred meters away, he was pulled back by an irresistible force. His body of more than 400 kilograms hit the ground heavily. His white skin was penetrated by countless small holes, and light yellow fat flowed out. Blood mingled. It took less than 3 minutes in total from the moment Datao took action to the time when Big Buddha, Chen Batian and his gang were destroyed. Gao Yang Mingsu looked at the elites lying on the ground howling miserably, her caste trembling slightly. Senior. Qin Lang laughed it off and said, City Lord Ming, there is still a rebel, you can handle it yourself. The anti-bone boy, of course, refers to the frightened falcon. Under his instruction, Big Head did not attack this person. Falcon fell to his knees, systeming. I was wrong. I just lost my mind and was talking nonsense. Please forgive me. Gao Yang Mingsu walked over, pulled the falcon up from the ground, suddenly grabbed its vital parts, and squeezed hard. I'll make you fucking crazy. Chapter 427, Trap. The falcon's extremely miserable cry was a perfect ending to this ordinary night in the apocalypse. When Yang Mingsu came over again, it was already the morning of the next day. The sun was warm and the lake was calm. The nearby corpses and bloodstains have been cleaned up. Qin Lang was still sitting by the lake fishing, with the big-headed slave still following him. Senior. Gao Yang Mingsu bowed from a distance. You don't need to call me senior, just call me Qin language. Qin Lang smiled and put away the fishing rod. Do you have a problem with me? Gao Yang Mingsu did not dare to raise her head and said in a low voice, nothing else. I just want to come in person, Mr. Qin, to say thank you. If it weren't for you last night, my partners and I would have died. When we first met last night, you were worried about my safety and asked me to go to the city to hide. If I take action, it will be a favor to you. We are clear-cut and no one knows the other. Qin Lang's first impression of Yang Mingsu was very good, otherwise he would not have rescued her. Yang Mingsu bowed slightly, hesitated for a long time, and finally summoned up the courage to speak. Mr. Qin, I have a heartfelt request. I hope to become your teacher. I'm not free. Qin Lang refused without thinking. Just kidding. The 10,000 gods on my side will be killed until the end of the year of the monkey, so there is no time to teach any apprentices. The only thing Qin Lang wants to do now is to quickly be promoted to first god, and then find the sacred city that even teacher Shu has never heard of to meet Feng Xiaoni. Yang Mingsu was not discouraged. It doesn't matter if you don't have time to accept disciples, sir. Can you let me serve you as a maid? First, you raise a big problem that is very difficult to solve, and then you raise a relatively simple problem. You are quite scheming. Qin Lang joked with a smile. He didn't dislike scheming women at all. What do you want from me? I want to become stronger than I'm now. There are many people I want to protect. They are all my partners who have struggled with me all the way. I don't want what happened last night to happen again. Yang Mingsu spoke decisively. Yeah, that's the truth. Qin Lang threw the pole again. I may live here for a while, maybe a few months, maybe a year and a half, I don't know for sure. You can come and sit here when you have time. Sir, have you agreed? Gao Yangmingsu was ecstatic and wanted to kneel down, but no matter how hard she tried, her legs could not kneel down. There was a force holding her firmly. Modern people don't like this. Qin Lang said without turning around. Tell the people in the city that 20 kilometers south of the City of Hope is a forbidden area. Don't get close if you don't want to die. Okay, I will tell them. Now that starting from today, the south gate of the city will be permanently closed. Do you have any other instructions, sir? Gao Yangmingsu nodded repeatedly and firmly remembered it. This is the storage bag I found out from that damn fat man yesterday. It belongs to you. Qin Lang threw the storage bag to Gao Yangmingsu. He took a cursory glance at the contents inside and found that they had no value at all. He felt that leaving them in the bag took up space. However, Gao Yangmingsu caught the storage bag, and after taking a look, her body was shaking with excitement. It's all filled with priceless materials, treasures, and potions, enough to train a dozen immortality masters. Thank you, sir. Gao Yangmingsu's eyes were slightly red, and she took 7 or 8 steps back before turning around and leaving. Point from this day on, there is an additional law in the City of Hope, which strictly prohibits anyone from approaching the southern restricted area in the eastern lake. Violators will be shot to death. That evening, Qin Lang was lying in the wooden house to rest when he suddenly smelled a familiar scent. He sat up with his eyes shining brightly. After waiting for so long, it's finally here. 20 miles south of the city is a restricted area where the flesh and blood of the gods are buried. 5 strange-looking gods came out of the void, their eyes fixed on the existence under the soil. The very fresh smell of flesh and blood. Yes, this must be the flesh and blood of a certain god, but it's very strange. Why is there a piece of the flesh and blood of a god here? Why do you care so much? Eat first as a courtesy. Hey. The 5 gods swarmed up and lifted up the thick soil. However, the moment they dug out flesh and blood, 2 very unfamiliar auras appeared behind them. Turning around, he saw that it was a monster with horns on its forehead and a tail on its back. Where did this little ant come from? Knowing that the 5 gods are here, dare to come here to fight for food. The 5 gods did not take Qin Lang seriously at all. Qin Lang silently summoned the bone sword and stabbed one of the gods without saying a word. The god was pierced by a sword before he could react, and he didn't even have a chance to scream. A mere immortal body can actually kill gods. No, something's wrong. Everyone, be careful. Although he is immortal, his overall strength is more powerful than a god. Don't come over here. Help. The sword light streaked across the night sky, taking away the hustle and bustle of this place. Looking at the remains of the gods scattered on the ground, Qin Lang pulled away expressionlessly. Promotion 2, First God, completion level, 6/10,000. Time is like running water, passing slowly and never coming back. In the blink of an eye, Qin Lang has lived in the City of Hope for a month. During this period, he continued to improve the flesh and blood trap. After several experiments and summing up his failed experiences, he finally made a decent cage. Once a god is attracted by flesh and blood and falls into it, he will be skinned, even if he is not dead. How is my trap? Qin Lang was quite satisfied with it. After a month of getting along with Qin Lang, Gao Yangmingsu also knew his true purpose. From the initial shock to numbness, it took more than half a month. When she heard Qin Lang asking her, she smiled and said, "You made this trap like the marriage in peacetime, which is easy to enter and hard to leave. Ordinary people, whether men or women, will be locked in the algorithm for life once they touch it. I just made a trap. How do you connect it with marriage? Why are you a victim of marriage? Have you been married?" Qin Lang found it interesting and asked, "No, I have never had a boyfriend. The first time was still. There are just too many such cases around me." Gao Yangmingsu answered truthfully, "Even if there is no apocalypse, I will resolutely stay away from housing, gambling, drugs, marriage, and children." Qin Lang laughed and left. The peacetime is too far away from now, and the memory is beginning to blur. 100 kilometers away from the City of Hope. More than a dozen figures broke through the void and appeared here. If Qin Lang was present, he would definitely be surprised. This group of people were all primordial gods, of course. Primordial gods are not surprising, but a group of primordial gods appeared in the N6 area, which made it difficult not to be suspicious. There is no problem with the radar. There is indeed a strong flesh and blood energy ahead, which is dozens of times what we found before. Great. As long as we find the source and offer this energy to our lord, we will definitely get another reward. Chapter 428. Kneel down. The 13 first gods followed the guidance of the radar and quickly came to that area. When everyone arrived at the area, their scalps felt numb when they looked at the horrific scene below, and there was a cold breath coming from behind point in this area, which is less than 1 kilometer in diameter. There are overgrown weeds, corpses of gods everywhere, and minced meat of the gods. It is in stark contrast to the lush scenery 1 kilometer away, making it seem like a forbidden place. Boss, something is wrong with this place. Why are there so many divine skeletons from different races? I have never seen such a place even in the gods domain. A theologian in the team who specialized in studying gods identified some bones and spoke in horror. Such a powerful flesh and blood energy appears in the N6 area, which is against common sense. Everyone, please be careful. The leader of this team is a woman with an extremely hot figure, nicknamed Princess. Not only does she have a beautiful appearance, but her broad-mindedness is also evident. Her 2 smooth long legs are paired with black and white silk, and she mainly has a critical strike and attack speed. It's really not normal. A man pushed up his glasses on the bridge of his nose and said, normally, gods are only attracted by powerful flesh and blood energy, so they usually appear in medium-sized, large-sized, or human settlements with high average levels. And the radar shows that, although there are human settlements 20 kilometers away, the flesh and blood energy released is far from the possibility of attracting God's descent. So, what do you want to say? Can you please stop being the Riddler? The burly middle-aged man asked impatiently. The lake will never breed a true dragon, so this is most likely a trap. If my guess is correct, this is probably the hunting ground of a middle god, or higher god. The princess frowned slightly. If it's a middle god, it won't be a problem to gather our strength to kill it, but if it's a high god, although the princess didn't speak clearly, everyone understood it. If they were so unlucky to encounter the higher god, they might not even have a chance to escape. Boss, since there is a human settlement nearby, we might as well go there and ask to see what happened. I judge that the death time of these gods will not exceed 3 months. It is impossible for people in the city to know nothing about this. This is the correct advice. Let's go. The princess and others did not stay in the restricted area, but turned into 13 beams of light and rushed towards their human settlement, the City of Hope. Boss, it's not good. When his men stumbled in, Bao Yangming's who was refining weapons. The time she spent with Qin Lang not only broadened her horizons, but also gained countless benefits. Her realm rose sharply, and she successfully broke through to the immortal body in just 1 month. If she continues to practice at the current speed, she may not be able to. It only takes 1.5 years to reach a higher state. First god. A month ago, she wouldn't have dared to think about this kind of thing, and she didn't even know that this realm existed. What's wrong outside? There are more than a dozen people coming outside. They are very scary. There is a woman among them. She killed the guard captain and several guards in one move. She wants to see you by name. The men were sweating profusely, and their calves were scared. All cramped. What? Kill instantly with one move. Who is he? Gao Yangming's who frowned and rushed out. Hope Square. This place was originally a market where local residents traded daily necessities, but now it looked a bit bloody. 6 corpses were lying on the ground, with blood gurgling. The princess looked at the speeding Yangming's who raised the corners of her mouth and did not hide her sarcastic smile. I didn't expect that in such a rotten place, where birds don't poop and chickens don't lay eggs, someone can reach the level of immortal body. The man pushed up his glasses and said, it is indeed worthy of praise. This is considered a genius. Who are you? Why did you kill my men? Gao Yangming's who asked sternly, looking at the 6 men who had already died, full of anger. They were all her confidants, and followed her all the way. Among them were 2 couples who had just held a small wedding a few days ago. Puff, arc of light that was difficult to catch with the naked eye flashed past Point Yang Ming's, who didn't react at all. She only felt pain in her legs and her body fell heavily. Ah! Yang Ming's, who screamed. Her two thighs were cut off. The cross-section was as smooth as a mirror, and a large amount of blood and bone marrow gushed out. The pain was so painful that she was dying. You answer whatever the boss asks you. Ants have no right to ask questions. Do you understand? The one who took action was a woman, and the weapon in her hand was a round knife. You are Yang Ming's, whose body trembled, and she realized what state these 13 men and women were in point to be able to easily injure her. She must be first god or above. What's going on in that forbidden area 20 kilometers south of the city? The forbidden area in the south of the city. I don't know what you are talking about. Yang Ming's, who gritted her teeth. This place was related to Mr. Qin's grand plan. How could she be willing to reveal it? You're lying. Poof. Poof. 2. More sword strikes. This time, Yang Ming's, whose arms were also cut off. The weapon contaminated with the aura of the first god caused Yang Ming's, whose body to completely lose its ability to recover. This is the absolute suppression of the inferior by the superior. Tap 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 tap. Light footsteps sounded, and the princess came to squat in front of Yang Ming's, who grabbed her chin with one hand and said with a smile, "If you really don't know what happened in the forbidden area south of the city, why did you issue a decree prohibiting everyone from approaching the south of the city? Do you think we are stupid? I didn't my eyes." A pair of slender jade fingers pierced through Yang Ming's, whose eyes. The princess pulled out the fingers with two eyeballs hanging on them and laughed evilly. "If anyone knows what happened in the south of the city, tell me. I will reward you handsomely." Bo. 1 of the eyeballs was swallowed as a candy ball, and the princess smiled with satisfaction. "You treat me like this, sir will not let you go!" Exclamation mark. Woohoo. Yang Ming's, who screams frightened all the people present point, but they could do nothing. They were too weak. "Sir? Oh, it's the person who supports you behind the scenes." The princess tilted her head and swallowed the other eyeball. "Where is it? Take us to see it." "No need to bother. I'm here." A voice came out, and a golden gap appeared in the void. Point. A young man with horns on his forehead and a tail on his back appeared in Hope Square with a man with a big head. Point. It was Qin Lang and the god slave Big Head. Point. Just now, he suddenly noticed that Yang Ming's, whose aura was rapidly declining, so he broke through the realm and rushed over as soon as possible. Point. Looking at Yang Ming's, who lying in a pool of blood, Qin Lang's eyes flashed with a strong murderous intent. I thought he was some master, but it turns out he is just an immortal body. After confirming Qin Lang's aura, the princess laughed and said, "Kneel down and kiss my feet. I will forgive you for pretending to be cool." Chapter 429 Cold Killing. Qin Lang ignored the princess and went straight to Yang Ming's, who took out a bottle of medicine and poured it down her throat. She was in critical condition and in danger of dying at any time. "It's okay, I'm here." "Fuck. The boss is talking to you. Are you fucking deaf? I'll chop you into a human pig." The woman who cut off Yang Ming's, whose hands and feet with a round knife, shouted and was about to attack, but was stopped by the princess. The princess grimly, "Okay, boy, you are quite brave. Are you a couple with her? Then I will send you to the underworld as husband and wife." As she spoke, the princess raised her arm. The moment she made a move, the man holding the compass in the team of 13 showed a horrified look. "Boss, be careful. Come back soon." "What?" The princess quickly pulled back. "What's the matter?" The man was shocked and said, "God, that big-headed man is a god. Look." The princess looked down at the compass, and the needle really pointed to the big-headed god. Another indicator used to measure the strength of the gods was clearly at blue. In other words, it was a middle-level god. "Everyone, be careful," the princess shouted, and the 13 people picked up their weapons at the same time. If it was a lower-level god, they would not be afraid at all, but facing a middle-level god, they must go all out, and it is difficult to guarantee that there will be no casualties in the battle. Point. Although there is only a difference of 2 words, the strength is very different. No wonder this guy is so arrogant. It turns out he is the spokesperson of God. Dense beads of sweat oozed from the princess's forehead. Point. The big-headed god did not take action. but looked at Qin Lang, waiting for orders. Don't hurt innocent people. Qin Lang ordered coldly. Understood, Master. The big-headed god said something that no one except Qin Lang could understand. His body began to swell and turned into a huge head. With a strange laugh, the terrifying breath of the gods was released. The 13 men and women and the big-headed god all disappeared from the original place and were transferred to the alien battlefield. This is a skill that most middle-level gods can master. Here, don't panic, it's just an alien battlefield. He hasn't formed a god's domain yet, and it has no effect on us. The princess explained with her wide experience, and then asked, I seem to have heard something just now. This big head said something to that man. Did you hear it clearly? He seems to be saying, understand, Master? Someone spoke uncertainly. You heard this too? The princess was confused. Strange. This is impossible. Humans, who are still small immortal bodies, how can they become the masters of gods? Boss, let's deal with him first. Okay, let's go together. The princess nodded heavily, and the 13 people rushed towards the big-headed god at the same time. Hope square point. After taking the potion, Bao Yangmingsu's hands, feet, and eyeballs grew back, but her body was extremely weak. She cried and said, Sir, they asked about the forbidden land in the south. I didn't tell them. I didn't reveal a word. Actually, it doesn't matter if you tell them. Don't be so stupid next time, but it's a pity. Qin Lang looked at the corpses. Wait until I deal with those ants. You take your people to my city to be an official. I will allocate an area for you to build a city. The environment will not be worse than here. Qin Lang and our Yangmingsu just met by chance, and he didn't want to take her to migrate to Fengreo, but since she had suffered so much for keeping the secret, he couldn't help. After saying that, Qin Lang extended 2 fingers, drew a door in the air, and walked in. Alien battlefield. The battle was unprecedentedly fierce. The big-headed god grew countless twisted hands and feet, holding the god's bones and madly slashing the crowd, bursting out a deafening sound. Although the 13-man team had an advantage in numbers, the overall situation was suppressed by the big-headed god. For a while, let alone killing the big-headed god, it was a problem whether they could guarantee undefeated. Not one of them was dealt with. Qin Lang saw that none of the 13-man team died, and he couldn't help but feel a little angry. The big-headed god trembled and said hurriedly, Master, I'm going to get serious now. No need for you. Go down. Qin Lang raised his hand, and the big-headed god returned to human form and fell to the ground. He was afraid that Qin Lang would attack him, so he knelt down and begged for mercy. Master, I'm useless. I deserve to die. Spare my life. Shut up. Yes, I shut up. This scene was seen in its entirety by the 13-man team. The 13 people were so shocked that their eyes almost popped out. That was a middle-level god. This world is really upside down. How could there be such a thing that turned the heavens upside down? Middle-level god, kneeling down to immortal body to recognize the master? The one who abused me. Qin Lang looked at the woman holding the round knife. You are the one who cut off Mengsu's hands and feet. Yes. What happened to me? Who told her to? Puff. No one saw what happened. The woman's beautiful face exploded directly. Red and white things mixed together. The headless body fell straight, and blood continued to flow from the empty neck. A genuine first god who had experienced countless life and death battles and dangerous battles fell. You gouged out our Yangmingsu's eyes. The calm voice sounded like the whispers of an ancient god. The princess trembled all over. Her lips were pale, and she stammered. I was wrong. Spare. Puff. Wow. A blood-red tail pierced through the princess' eyes and lifted up her body weighing more than 100 kilograms. The pain caused the princess' body to tremble violently, and she lost control of her bowels and bladder. A foul smell emanated. The remaining 11 people had livid faces, as if they were in hell. Throwing the half-dead princess to the ground, Qin Lang said coldly, now let's start the quick answer game. I ask, you answer. Whoever answers the best and fastest will not have to die. First question. Why do you want to come to Area N6? Puff. The blood-red tail stabbed out continuously, taking away 3 lives. The high and mighty god was nothing but an ant in front of Qin Lang. We are ordered by our Lord to collect flesh and blood for him. The compass indicates that there is powerful flesh and blood here. The man holding the compass exclaimed, "Well, Qin." Lang nodded. "What level of god is your master, and where is he?" Puff. Puff. 2 more people were killed. The man still holding the compass said, "Our master is a upper god who has not yet fully awakened. He is in the other dimension, the fire demon forest. I can take you there." "Well, you have learned to answer quickly. You are very good, and you are quick and smart. Then, the rest of us are useless." Qin Lang tilted his head and attacked with a blood red tail. Puff. 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 "Sir, we are just following orders. Please spare our lives. We do not approve of killing. It is the princess. She is murderous and bloodthirsty, but she is the strongest. We can only obey her." The man with the compass said with tears in his eyes, "Please let us go." The team of 13 people, only 3 people were killed at this moment, 2 men and 1 woman. "No, there is also a half-dead princess. You farted." The princess vomited blood. "I didn't." "You lied." "Sir, don't kill me. I'm willing to do anything for you. I'm so beautiful, I can let you puff." The blood red tail pierced through the princess's head, and she was dead now. Chapter 430, Coming from the Flame. After throwing the bodies of the 10 first gods into the newly planned mass grave in Fengreo City, Qin Lang spent some time moving Yang Mingsu and the residents of the City of Hope to Fengreo City. Finally, after collecting the remains and flesh of the gods scattered in the traps in the southern area, he took the big-headed god and the remaining 3 people to the fire demon forest to hunt the half-awakened upper god. After half a day of flying, a group of 4 arrived at the scene. The fire demon forest, as its name suggests, is a large forest on fire. All that came into view were burning trees, and even the cracked earth was flowing with boiling lava. Those with a realm lower than immortal body would have a hard time here, and only first god could completely resist the damage caused by the harsh environment. My lord is in the cave in front." The man holding the compass told carefully. Qin Lang glanced at the 3 people and was stabbed by the eyes of this killing god. The 3 people were immediately frightened and lowered their heads and dared not say a word. "You are still useful. Wait here. If they dare to run around, eat them." The latter sentence was naturally said to the big-headed god. "Yes, master." The big-headed god nodded. Qin Lang's body shook and rushed into the cave in front. This cave is huge and exudes a pungent smell of sulfur. According to the explanation of the theologian in the trio, their master is a fire god from hell. The smell of sulfur is a unique smell of the gods of hell. The gods are also divided into factions. After going deep into the winding cave for several thousand meters, Qin Lang arrived at the last area. Hundreds of skeletons of various creatures appeared in front of him, 1/3 of which were humans, and 2/3 were monsters and other animals. They all knelt in a posture facing a burning fireball in the middle. As expected of a upper god, this breath is many times stronger than that of a big head before it fully awakens. Without twin breathing technique, it would be a bit difficult to fight the pollution with only one's own mental power, let alone fight it. Seems that only when you are promoted to beginning god can you have the ability to fight the upper god head on. Through the information intercepted by the beast horn, Qin Lang carefully analyzed the difference in strength between the enemy and us. Although Qin Lang is sometimes arbitrary, it does not mean that he is a reckless person. Especially when fighting against some powerful beings, he will be very cautious to avoid capsizing in the ditch. After confirming that this god has not fully awakened, and his strength may be less than 30% or 40% of his peak period, Qin Lang summoned the bone sword and quietly approached the fireball. When it was less than 10 meters away from the fireball suddenly heated up, and a huge eyeball opened, glaring. "Where did you come from, ants? Dare to fight against the gods? So strange. Why do you have the breath of an apostle? You kill them." Since his tracks were exposed, Qin Lang naturally stopped pretending and attacked brazenly. While the third eye on his forehead burst into lightning, the bone sword fiercely slashed at the fireball, looking for death. The fireball was attacked and became furious. A flaming hand stretched out from the void and grabbed it fiercely. Swoosh! Qin Lang waved his fingers calmly, and a round golden door suddenly appeared. Breakthrough Gate. The core technique learned from Heart of All Laws. Using this technique in immortal body will result in a very long cooling time, but it is different now. As immortal body, as long as you don't break through the boundary at a very long distance, the cooling can be almost ignored. Seeing Qin Lang enter the gate, the flaming hand followed him in, but at the moment, when the finger probed into the gate closed without any sign, and the two fingers of the flaming hand were neatly cut off by the gate. The fireball groaned in pain. Qin Lang's mouth curled up slightly. When Teacher Shu told him that break the gate was a technique that had both offensive and defensive capabilities, he didn't understand it. After 2 months of precipitation and learning, he finally understood it. The gate, as long as it is used skillfully, is an irresistible means of attack, and is a technique that is qualified to become an ace. You ant, how dare you? The bone sword and the blood red tail stabbed into the fireball's body at the same time. Although it caused damage, strangely, the blood red tail did not absorb any divine source. Isn't this his body? Suddenly, he heard a sound of breaking through the air. Qin Lang didn't even look at it, and opened the break the gate again, and instantly reached the other endpoint. That was another flaming hand. Woo woo woo. Flames erupted, and more than a dozen large and small flaming hands appeared, filling the sky of the cave in an instant. TSK, it's a bit difficult. Qin Lang put his fingers together to form a sword, and tapped at his forehead. Mind like still water. This technique also comes from Heart of All Laws, which was learned at the edge of Fengreo City. This is a technique that does not have any power and defense capabilities. Its only function is to enhance mental power, while allowing people to concentrate and avoid external interference to the greatest extent. It belongs to the enhancement type of technique. Who gave you the courage to plunder my divine source? More than a dozen flaming hands rushed over one after another, and the high temperature they carried was enough to easily melt any beginner god. Qin Lang did not confront them head on, and his body rushed backwards. However, there were too many flaming hands, and the cave space was too small. After dodging several times, Qin Lang was forced into a dead end. Fighting here is not good for me. I wonder if this thing will be lured out by me. Well, there is a way. Qin Lang's thoughts flashed, and he broke through the boundary for the third time. This time, they came directly outside the cave, and could see the trembling surviving trio and the big-headed god from afar. You can't run away. Your flesh and blood belong to me. Accompanied by the god's roar, more than a dozen flaming hands broke through the cave, and grabbed Qin Lang from bottom to top. There is enough space here. I will kill you here, Qin Lang turned from defense to offense, and the bone sword vibrated, shooting out thousands of sword beams. Is this really the combat power that the immortal body can have? He is fighting against the upper god. The man holding the compass looked at Qin Lang fighting with the upper god, and the shock in his heart could not be described in words. The princess actually provoked such a monster, and her death was not unfair at all. I wonder who will win between you and the upper god. The battle outside the cave continued. Qin Lang blocked the attack of more than a dozen flaming hands with his sword, and inside the cave, where outsiders could not see, another Qin Lang appeared. It was a bionic teardrop that Qin Lang quietly left behind when he broke through the boundary and left point at the moment of condensation. The bionic Qin Lang swung the bone sword and stabbed the fireball that was focused on the outside. Puff. This time, the fireball was directly pierced through. A large amount of divine energy leaked out, and the god was injured. The fireball trembled, and the earth shook. I will definitely kill you. Crack. 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 The strange sound of the eggshell breaking sounded, and a god with fire all over his body and red skin walked out of the flames. Chapter 431, Hell's Watch. This god was very tall and strong, about 3 or 4 meters tall, and was covered in divine fire. He had a pair of long curved horns on his head, and his appearance was extremely ferocious. Behind his waist was a fiery red tail that kept swinging. As soon as the god appeared, he immediately picked up the giant axe in his hand and smashed it at bionic Qin Lang. Qin Lang swung a sword as a sword and axe crossed, and the flames burst out. Qin Lang felt his body lower. It turned out that the ground was unable to withstand the terrifying power of the god and sank into it. What a terrible power. The power is definitely above mine. Qin Lang was secretly shocked, dodged the god's continuous slashes, rushed into the sky, and merged with the main body. Raw. The god was like a scorching sun, chasing relentlessly. When his body appeared in the sky completely, the temperature of the entire area instantly increased by dozens of degrees. I can't breathe. Oxygen. The oxygen is burned dry. Help. The 3 survivors looked grim and knelt down one after another. The big-headed god saw this and stood in front of them. While resisting the pollution, he created a small domain to minimize the damage to the 3 people point. Although he was not able to participate in this level of battle, it was more than enough to protect a few people point on the other side. The flaming hands in the sky disappeared as the god woke up early point. The 2 Qin Lang stared at the hell god in the middle from the left and right. Even if he woke up early, even if his strength was less than 30% or 40% of his prime, he still gave Qin Lang a huge sense of oppression. Die. The god looked up to the sky and howled, sweeping out with 2 axes. Dang. The 2 bone swords were swung at the same time to barely resist the axe that destroyed the world. Lightning flash. 2 lightning bolts shot out from the vertical eyes and hit the god's body at close range. But unfortunately, the god was only slightly injured, and the divine fire on his body offset most of the damage. This thing is not only powerful, but also has high defense. I may not be able to defeat it if I fight hard. The 2 Qin Langs dodged to both sides, using their bodies to avoid the god's terrifying attack, while thinking about countermeasures. If there is any way to extinguish the divine fire on his body, it will be great point. But that is divine fire, which cannot be extinguished with water. Raw. Ants die. RRR. The god was extremely angry. Awakening in advance and awakening perfectly are 2 different concepts. Awakening in advance, to some extent, completely cuts off his chance of promotion. Congenital deficiencies cannot be compensated by acquired factors. Dang. 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 The flaming battle axe slashed continuously, and the divine fire shone into the sky point. After resisting for nearly 100 rounds, the god seized a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and smashed Qin Lang's body with a punch, followed by another axe to smash the bionic Qin language. Go to hell. The god turned into a huge fireball and continued to chase Qin Lang, whose body was embedded in the ground. Suddenly, Qin Lang, who was dying and seemed to have lost consciousness a second ago, suddenly opened his eyes and slashed a terrifying giant sword straight at the god's chest. The god subconsciously used a battle axe to smash it, but he didn't know that the giant sword was actually transformed by spiritual power. He was caught off guard and fell into endless illusions. Flower in the mirror. Good opportunity. Qin Lang jumped up and quickly approached the god. He hugged him regardless of the divine fire that could burn his body. At the same time, he opened the break the world gate wither of his finger and entered the gate with the god. Break the world slash. Qin Lang closed the boundary gate at the moment when his body completely left the boundary gate point. The boundary gate, ignoring the defense, cut across the body of the god without any suspense. Break the world slash. Ignores defense. Wow. A large mouthful of blood spurted out. Point the power of the divine fire on the half remaining god was greatly reduced. Taking this opportunity, Qin Lang swung his big tail and stabbed it hard on his forehead. Ugh. The god tried to break free, but unfortunately, he was too badly injured and could only watch himself fall silently, unable to do anything. Okay. Before dying, the god roared shrilly, holding the big tail tightly with his palm, shining. I curse you. You will become the mortal enemy of the Hell Clan. Wait for being hunted down. Ha 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 ha. The laughter stopped abruptly, and the god turned into a pile of ashes. Qin Lang looked at the strange mark on the tail. Not only did he not feel the joy of defeating a strong enemy, but he frowned deeply. It was hard for him not to care about this matter. When the god shouted the curse just now, he clearly felt that he was being watched by many terrifying beings in the dark. Any of these beings are terrifying gods who can make him fall into pieces with just a breath. Congratulations, Master, for killing the upper god. The big-headed god half knelt to congratulate. Qin Lang ignored him and picked up a crimson card from the ashes. N6 Vulcan Hell, another alienated area card point bus. At this time, a ghost ship broke through the void, holding a sign with a smiley face in its right hand and approaching deliberately. Even a fool knew what he wanted to do. But when the ghost ship saw that the card in Qin Lang's hand was N6 Vulcan Hell, he silently took back the sign, slowly retreated and escaped into the void. Fuck, stop right there. This scene broke Qin Lang's mentality. He flew directly onto the deck, ignoring the ghost ships jumping and struggling violently, and forcibly stuffed the newly seized area card into the deck. But as soon as the card was inserted, it would pop out from the gap of the deck behind. Qin Lang tried many times but failed. Both the man and the boat were sweating profusely, which was much more tiring than fighting. The Hell Tribe is far more terrible than you think. He is still a child. It is normal that he dare not eat. After all, no one wants to provoke. The old man appeared behind Qin Lang at some point. He sighed. This is the fate of every key refiner. They will always provoke some large tribes during the promotion process. Big Mouth Senior. Qin Lang quickly stood up and bowed. What is going on? The only thing I can tell you is that being watched by hell is not a bad thing. You can use those hell gods who are chasing you to speed up your promotion. The old man held the regional card in his palm and flicked it lightly. The card turned into a heavy fire core. Compared to the regional card, you need this more now. What is this? Qin Lang stared at the fire core full of hell breath. The Hell Seed, an energy body that grows by absorbing the flesh and blood of the Hell Clan, is similar to your Heart of All Laws. The more Hell Clan members you kill, the faster the seed grows, and the more benefits you will naturally get. The old man spoke a lot to Qin Lang for the first time. Finally, he peeled off the flesh and blood on Qin Lang's chest and buried the Hell Seed inside. While the seed was emitting terrifying heat, it also continuously transmitted knowledge into Qin Lang's mind. It gave him a splitting headache. It hurt so much. Qin Lang felt his head hurt and itchy after being fed too much knowledge at once, and he almost fainted. This symptom lasted for a full 10 minutes. The old man's body became weak and slowly disappeared. I'm leaving. If we are destined, we will meet in the divine realm. Wait. Senior. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 432 Setting Sail. No matter how Qin Lang shouted, the old man did not respond at all. A feeling of loss lingers in my heart. This feeling is difficult to describe in words. At this moment, a handmaid of the deck gently patted Qin Lang's shoulder to express comfort. He knew it was a boat without looking back. I'm fine. Qin Lang smiled and said, our main target is a person with strong ability to withstand pressure. If he is promoted to the first god as soon as possible, won't he be able to enter the divine realm to meet them earlier? The boat immediately gave a thumbs up. By the way, why are you here? Are you following me all the time? The boat shook, and beads of sweat flowed from the bow. You knew there was a zone card here, so you came here to squat with me. However, you didn't expect that this zone card was hell type. You didn't dare to eat it. You kid is really full of bad ideas. No wonder you let the 3 emperors and dragons. Do you know what this means? The bottom beam is not straight and the top beam is crooked. Qin Lang smiled and teased to relieve his depression. Hey, bro, let's come. At this time, the Imperial Dragon Trio came out of the cabin. Why didn't you stay in the city? What are you doing here? Qin Lang asked curiously. Huang Long always had that mean look on his face, making people unable to resist bang punching him a few times. Look what you said, we are now in the God realm, for sure. How can we cower in feng fear every day? The city is waiting for you to feed it. Poison Poppy, that's right, we have already discussed it, and we will travel with you and Grandpa Chuan to continue to improve our realm. Skeleton King, we are no longer who we were in the past. We will work hard and work hard. Speak humanly, or I will slap you. I will count to 3. 1, 2. Qin Lang raised his finger. Huang Lang hurriedly raised his hands and surrendered. Okay, I'll tell you everything, brother, don't rush to do it yet. It was Grandpa Chuan who forced us to come here, saying that you might be in trouble next. How much can we help? How much can you help? In fact, you know best what kind of person I am. Although I'm in the divine realm, what I'm best at is hugging my thighs. Tell Grandpa Chuan, let us go back. Fengreo City has beautiful mountains, clear waters, and outstanding people. I will get used to it. Skeleton King, me too, me too. Poison Poppy, please, let us go back. Qin Lang was so angry that his head hurt. I really want to kill you. You want to go back, right? I won't let you go back, so just follow me and enjoy. Hell gaze, together, hell. Watching? X3 The three of them looked at each other. For some reason, they felt a chill on their backs just by hearing this word. Owner, the big-headed god brought 3 survivors to the ghost ship. The 3 of them were already frightened and lay on the ground trembling. As the first gods, how could they not feel the aura of the Emperor Dragon Trio? That is the breath of a true god. It's guaranteed to be a fake god. Just like this, a big shot with hands and eyes all smiles at Qin language. What kind of existence is Qin Lang? Is he from Earth? You 3 have indeed not done any unforgivable bad things, and your abilities are useful to me. I decided to give you a chance to choose. Qin Lang glanced at the 3 of them and said, either follow me from now on and do things down to earth, or leave on your own, and I will never stop you. Huang Long nodded. Yes, my elder brother said 1 is 1 and 2 is 2. I will never make things difficult for you. If you dare to leave, you will be killed directly. The next 8 words were spoken by Huang Long's mouth. We are willing to follow Mr. Qin. Thank you Mr. Qin for not killing me. Thank you Mr. Qin for giving us the opportunity. How dare the 3 of them say no? They nodded like chicken sucking rice. You volunteered for me. I didn't force you. Qin Lang really didn't expect that they would agree so readily. Get up and tell me your path and names. Yes, my name is Luoheo, and my path is Detector. I can detect flesh and blood energy, crystal nuclei, treasures, and even some unusual areas by making a special compass. My name is Dan Wei, and my path is Theologian. I can know the characteristics of the god by analyzing flesh and blood, and occasionally I can understand the technique of the god. Of course, it is currently limited to lower god. My name is Zhao Liang. I'm a military doctor and can provide rapid treatment. They are all very good ways. Qin Lang nodded repeatedly, except Luoheo, Xiaodong and Liang will return to Fengreo City to work for my city. For specific positions, please go to Linwana and Li Guogo. They will make arrangements for you. Thank you Mr. Qin for not killing him. We will work for Mr. Qin with all our might. Go ahead, Qin. Lang opened the passage and let the 2 people in. Ronaldo, Mr. Qin, what is the detection range of your compass? About 100 kilometers or so. Quite convenient. Qin Lang nodded and patted the guardrail. From today on, this is my command headquarters. Let's set sail. Xiao Zhao nodded vigorously, and the Huang Lang trio shouted excitedly. Brother, should we eat and drink before hunting? That's necessary. You can't hurt your stomach no matter what, right? Ha ha ha. There was laughter and laughter on the boat. In the ruins of an old castle with a strong sulfur smell, a man and a woman kneel devoutly in front of a statue of a devil with a severed arm. My lord, you called us back urgently. Is there something important for us to do? The man had a square face, thick eyebrows and big eyes, and carried a huge sword wrapped in white cloth on his back. The statue of the god spoke slowly, like the whispers of an ancient god. The sexy woman raised her head, and her blood-red eyes burst out with cruel light. Please rest assured, my lord, we will bring Qin Lang's head back at all costs. Bang dang dang. A dagger appeared from the void, and fell heavily to the ground. On the handle of the dagger was an eyeball that was groping around. Thank you, my lord, for your gift. I'll take my leave. To left the ruins of the castle. The woman said strangely. I can't understand why we have to go to such lengths to deal with a small, immortal body. Send us to do it. Can't we just find a few gods to kill him? The fact that my lord attaches so much importance to this person shows that this person is extraordinary. Either he is very capable or the people around him are strong. Don't underestimate the enemy. The man's voice was deep. Hearing what you said, should I mobilize my subordinates to fight him together? A lion will use all its strength to fight a rabbit. You are a good person in every way, but you are too cautious. But it is also true that it is better to be safe than sorry. If you are not careful, how can you survive in this damn apocalypse? Until now, the woman reached out from her tattoo chest and took out a whistle. Soon after she blew it, more than a dozen gods with strange shapes appeared and said respectfully, "Greetings, Your Excellency the Princess." Chapter 433 Hunter Duo. I hate it. The god whose body was pierced by the bone sword screamed unwillingly, and the huge god skeleton fell heavily into the sea, dyeing a large area of the sea red. What did I say? No more than 30 seconds. Give me money. Qin Lang slammed the table and yelled, and Poison Poppy and Skeleton King reluctantly took out the crystal core coins and threw them to him. This is very strange. When the boss killed the last god, it took more than 10 minutes. So you are only worthy of being a younger brother, and you don't understand me at all. Qin Lang smiled and put away the crystal core coins, took a bite of skewers, and took a big sip of beer and said, "The last god, I was clearly testing him. You don't really think that a mere middle god has the ability to fight with me for more than 10 minutes? Then this one. The test is over, so it must be a quick battle, right?" Qin Lang spread his hands. That makes sense. I can't find the words to refute it. Poison Poppy and Skeleton King looked at each other, feeling quite discouraged. No wonder they couldn't flatter Qin Lang as well as he did. He was indeed the chief flatterer beside the boss. A heavy slap hit the back of Qin Lang's head. Qin Lang rolled his eyes and cursed when he returned to the deck. "Why the hell do I think you are the boss? I'm just working for you." "Hey, brother, how can you have such a weird idea? You have to kill the gods yourself." "That's what you said. We didn't do anything because we were afraid of stealing your god's head," Qin Lang shouted while covering the back of his head. Qin Lang really couldn't find the words to refute, but he still hit him again. "Why are you hitting me again? Who told you not to wear a hat? Fuck, boss." Luoheo, who was sitting in the watchtower, suddenly reminded loudly, "There are a large number of gods gathering nearby, mostly lower level gods, and 5 middle level gods. .COK, got it." Qin Lang moved his neck and wrists and patted the guardrail with a smile on his face. "The sea area is indeed a good place. There is a god every 3 steps, and a middle level god every 5 steps. This is a case without bait. If there is bait, it will be terrible." Qin Lang is quite satisfied with the efficiency of sea hunting during this period. It has almost completed 1% of the overall goal. What makes Qin Lang most happy is that in the process of hunting gods, he has mastered several very practical hell-related techniques, and his combat effectiveness has been significantly improved. Flesh and blood, fresh and powerful flesh and blood. The gods appeared one after another and surrounded the boat tightly. "Are they all here?" Qin Lang asked Luoheo, who looked at the compass carefully. "Yes, they are all here." "Okay." Qin Lang rushed up to the sky, opened his right hand, and the slender bone sword condensed in his palm. Flesh and blood, do you want to resist? A small immortal body actually tried to fight with the gods? You really don't know how to live or die, boy. Don't you know that it is an unwise behavior to fight against gods? The gods laughed and mocked. They didn't take Qin Lang seriously at all, let alone the small, immortal body. Even the human gods on the ship were just stronger ants for them, the middle level gods, and not worth mentioning. Qin Lang raised his mouth slightly, shook his right arm, and suddenly a hot divine fire emerged from the bone sword. He chanted softly, "Hellfire burns God." Woo. The bone sword was swung, and endless divine fire instantly enveloped the sky. Not good. Run away. By the time the gods realized that the raging divine fire could harm them, it was too late to escape. More than a dozen gods turned into ashes amid screams and fell into the vast sea. Hellfire burning god. Learn from Hellseed. It is an explosive technique with a huge attack range. It is especially effective when facing a large number of enemies, and the damage can even be stacked. Plop, plop, plop. A large number of divine skeletons and divine ashes fell into the sea. The big-headed god jumped down and swallowed the bones and divine dust. These flesh and blood, which were useless to Qin Lang now, were a great tonic for the big-headed god. Big head, don't be so greedy as a god. If you dare to eat them all, believe it or not, I will cut you and leave some for us. Huang Lang reminded loudly. The big head repeatedly, floating in the sea and holding up the largest few divine skeletons, happy like a child. Qin Lang was about to return to the boat when Luoheo suddenly shouted, "Boss, be careful, it's not over yet." In fact, without Luoheo's reminder, Qin Lang also noticed the abnormal breath fluctuations in the air and looked closely. A void gate opened, and a man and a woman came with dozens of middle gods. "Are you Qin Lang?" the woman asked with her head tilted. "Such a strong smell of sulfur." Qin Lang sniffed. "Hell Clan." The woman chuckled. "Oh, it seems that I have found the right person. Although I don't know why you have offended the Hell Clan. Do you have any last words?" Qin Lang was amused. "You are quite confident. Why do you think you are my opponent?" The woman shook her head and snapped her fingers. "Kill him." Woo. Dozens of gods rushed forward, and then there was nothing else. The divine fire shone in the sky, dozens of gods turned into ashes, and the divine bones and ashes fell into the sea. The big-headed god was even happier. Huh. The woman's blood-red pupils flashed a trace of confusion. "Daphne, am I dreaming? Are you pinching me? Did this bite kill my subordinates in seconds?" "You are not dreaming. He is very strong, and I like him very much." The square-faced man with thick eyebrows and big eyes took a step forward and picked up the giant sword. As the white cloth wrapped around the giant sword unfolded, Qin Lang found himself in a pure white world. The man held the sword in one hand, and his voice was deep and deep. "This is my god's domain, burial domain. The biggest difference between God and first god is that most god will have their own special god's domain, and fighting in the god's domain can bless themselves with various incredible abilities. The first time I fought with a god who cultivated the god's domain." Qin Lang took a deep breath and his body trembled slightly. The woman walked into the burial area and couldn't help laughing when she saw this. "Isn't it too late to be afraid now?" "I'm afraid." Qin Lang laughed. "I'm excited. You're about to die." "You." Before the woman could say anything else, Daphne started running. During the running, his body split into two into four into 8. When Daphne came to Qin Lang, the entire burial area was full of his figure. Thousands of them. 8,000 burial realms. Burial of the gods. Woo. Swinging the sword, all the figures merged into one in an instant, and the sword chopped down. The earth shattered, and Qin Lang turned into dust. Chapter 434. Burial of the God. Hey, Daphne, what's going on with you? I haven't even played with him yet, so you're just going to kill him like this? You'll make me look stupid. The woman was a little angry and punched him. Pound Daphne's arm. Daphne had a dull personality and was taciturn. He ignored the woman's nonsense and just looked to the other side. "He's not dead." "Huh?" The woman followed his gaze, and sure enough, not far away, Qin Lang emerged from the soil. What a scary technique. Qin Lang wiped his sweat with lingering fear. That moment just now, if he hadn't used bionic teardrop to switch bodies in time to avoid it, he would still be half disabled, even if he didn't die. Not to mention anything else, just in terms of attack power, it is much stronger than the Starking. You can't win by hiding. Damn. Fei spoke muffledly. Qin Lang laughed it off and summoned the bone sword. "What are you talking about?" "Continue as you wish." Damn. Fei waved his giant sword again and strode forward. 8,000 burial realm. Bone chewing. Click, click, click. The ground suddenly trembled and countless skeletal arms stretched out from the cracks. Qin Lang jumped up quickly when he saw this, but his body was still in midair. Daphne, who was obviously far away from him, came to him at this moment. "Teleport." Qin Lang subconsciously waved his sword to resist. To swords clash. Keng, sparks fly. Qin Lang's body flew out uncontrollably. A huge white skull at the back opened its bloody mouth and swallowed Qin Lang in one gulp, making a gurgling swallowing sound. "Is he dead now?" The woman blinked, but the answer she got made her depressed. Daphne shook his head. "A strange technique. Can break free of the bone god's barrier. Tens of meters away. Qin Lang was floating in the air intact. Point just now. At the critical moment, he opened the border-breaking gate. If it were any later, he would be shattered by the violent airflow inside the white skull. What a tough enemy. Qin Lang seemed relaxed on the surface, but he couldn't help but murmur in his heart. The old man reminded him before leaving that any creature caught by Hell's gaze will encounter endless attacks until death, and every attack the intensity is stronger than last time. It was the first time he was attacked by two such powerful guys. What would he face next? I just killed a high-ranking god. It's not like you're doing this to me. Qin Lang was quite helpless. After complaining in his heart for a while, Qin Lang calmed down, and his right arm vibrated again. With a crackling sound, the bone sword began to change, and turned into a huge axe, burning with divine fire. Just because weapons are getting bigger, doesn't mean they are more powerful. Daffy shook his head and sighed. You're wrong. Qin Lang chuckled and said, I transformed the weapon not to scare anyone, or to increase my strength. It's just that some techniques can only be used with a battle axe weapon. Big man, are you ready? Daffy's face was expressionless, his sword held across his chest. Sacred fire purgatory slash. Qin Lang roared, his body burst into divine fire, and he turned into a fireball, and rushed towards Daffy. This is exactly the trick of the hell, higher god so strong. My strength has doubled. Get out of the way. Daffy pushed the woman away, supported the giant sword with both hands, and shouted angrily, 8,000 burial realm. Bone realm. Click, 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 click. Countless white bone arms surged out from the ground, and the densely packed arms covered Daffy's entire body one by one, with 3 layers inside and 3 layers outside. In the flash of lightning, Qin Lang came to kill, and the battle axe fell heavily. Boom. The shield composed of white bone arms was completely shattered, and the battle axe hit the giant sword with all its strength, only to hear a clang. The giant sword broke in response, and the axe blade split open Daffy's chest, causing blood to flow like a stream. Well, Daffy's body softened. He half knelt on the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. The wounds that should have healed quickly were constantly being burned by the flames and bleeding. This is the divine fire from hell, and even the body of a god cannot resist it. So strong. Daffy coughed up another mouthful of black blood. Daffy, you don't scare me. Are you okay? The woman panicked. He is Daffy, invincible Daffy, don't come here. Daffy raised his hand to stop the woman from getting closer. I somewhat understand why my lord pays so much attention to you. You are really strong, stronger than any human being I know. Qin Lang grinned. If you want to do just these 3 tricks, then don't blame me for sending you on your way now. 8,000 burial worlds is extremely powerful and can attack in reverse direction. Its drawback is that it consumes a lot of divine energy and cannot fight sustaining battles. You are right. I really only have 3 axes. Daffy has an open-minded personality. He stood up with difficulty. I can die and let her go. I guarantee that she will not be your enemy. Daffy, what the hell are you talking about? How can you die? The woman was so anxious that she took out a dagger with a strong sulfur smell and placed it in front of her. Let's go together. Qin Lang smiled and shook his head. If we have a conflict over small things, because of your personality, I will definitely let you go. Not only that, I will also have a drink with you to let the fight go. But it's a pity that we are opposites, and I can't let it go. You leave alive, lel. Run away. Daffy roared. Damn it. The woman gritted her teeth, and just as she turned around, the hand holding the dagger was suddenly bitten by something, making her unable to move. Lel. Daffy was stunned. Qin Lang was also slightly startled. He felt a very terrifying aura from the woman, which was even more powerful than the superior god. Daffy. Lel's limbs began to twitch, and the strong and pungent smell of sulfur overflowed from her torn body. In just 10 seconds, she turned into an extremely terrifying and ferocious hell god, and the spilled blood turned into a totem and armor. A huge eyeball was placed across the middle of the face, occupying 2/3 of the entire face, and was looking around. The breath of higher god Qin Lang's mouth twitched slightly, and there were countless grass and mud horses running wildly in his heart. Lel. Daphne looked at his crush and spoke in disbelief. The one-eyed god sneered. Useless trash. I already knew that you two couldn't deal with him. You just used your bodies to find prey. Qin Lang, right? Qin Lang took a deep breath and swept his body back sharply. This battle cannot be fought and absolutely cannot be won. Try it or die. If you dare to kill our general, then don't run away. With the blink of an eye, Qin Lang suddenly felt that his body became extremely heavy, and he didn't even have the strength to move a finger. The one-eyed god came to Qin Lang with bursts of ancient god murmurs, and condensed a sharp weapon in his right hand, which easily penetrated Qin Lang's body. Puff. Blood flowed from the corner of Qin Lang's mouth. Is this the oppressive feeling of higher god encountered? He didn't even have a chance to escape. Scarier than imagined. I'm going to die. 8,000 Burial Realm. Burial God. Xiushazu. At this critical moment, thousands of figures gathered together. Daphne cut off his sword and struck the one-eyed god fiercely on the head. Boom. The one-eyed demon turned into powder. Chapter 435. Archuan, get to work. Clang. Along with Daphne's rapid breathing, a completely broken dagger fell from the body that turned into powder and hit the ground. There was a broken eyeball on the handle of the dagger, and blood was constantly flowing out. Qin Lang stared at Daphne blankly. At this time, he was fully able to move, and the heaviness on his body disappeared without a trace as the dagger shattered. Ugh. Daphne spit out blood again. I have medicine here. Qin Lang took out a bottle of potion and threw it over. Dashan did not pick it up. He just sat weakly on the ground, grabbing the dust on the ground. Qin Lang didn't know what to say for a moment. From the time this god appeared to when Daphne counterattacked, it only took about 10 seconds. I'm such a coward. Daphne murmured. I have been with Lel for 3 years, and I have never dared to confess to her. She is indeed very smart, but she has always been slow emotionally. She always regards me as her closest teammate. It would have been nice if I had confessed to her earlier. Let's go. I want to stay with Lel for a while. Don't worry that I will continue to hunt you. I'm going to die. Daphne kept coughing, and every time he coughed, he would vomit a large amount of black blood. This was the price he paid for forcibly casting 8,000 burial worlds, which completely cut off his own vitality. This was a decisive move, killing both the enemy and himself. Qin Lang stared at him. You originally wanted to use this trick against me. Yes, if I replace you, at least Lel can go back and do business. You beast of the Hell tribe. You didn't even give me a chance to say goodbye. Qin Lang turned around, walked a few steps and then stopped. You are indeed a coward when it comes to treating women. Unlike me, whenever I meet a woman I like, I will never delay. I will confess my love immediately, and after the confession is successful, I will sleep with her. How can there be so many tomorrows for you to hesitate in the last days? Daphne, get out. Qin Lang picked up the broken dagger. There should be no upper god fully awakened at present. Otherwise, your master would not let an instrument possess him to kill me. Can you tell me the location of your master? Daphne made no movement. The breath disappeared. To die so soon. Qin Lang sighed. Although our positions are different, I still admire you for killing the superior god with one move. This is enough for you to brag about for a lifetime, but no matter how much I admire you, a dead person cannot be resurrected. You don't waste memory and knowledge. Qin Lang swung his blood-red tail and plunged deeply into Daphne's head. After a while, Qin Lang's eyes flashed with a fierce look. It turns out that the ruins of the old castle are here, not very far away. Do you think I will sit and wait for you to wake up? Zhangzi, just wait. I will come to you right away. After landing back on the boat, Qin Lang only said one sentence. Archuan, work. 2 days later, the interior of the castle ruins is filled with the pungent smell of sulfur. He came to me. How dare the sand come to me? The statue of the broken-armed devil was furious, shaking constantly, and the gravel rustled. There were hundreds of trembling hell gods floating around. Stop him and kill him at all costs. Damn ants, as you command. At the same time as the gods rushed out of the castle, A ghost ship slowly sailed into this barren land from the void. Qin Lang stood on the bow of the ship, overlooking the entire area. Everything was as recorded in Daphne's memory. This area was not large, with a diameter of only more than 10 kilometers. The only building was the ruins of the ancient castle that was full of mystery. Brother, this place is so fucking spooky, I'm getting goosebumps. Huang Long folded his arms and trembled. Mazer, got, he is particularly sensitive to danger. Although Qin Lang said nothing, his intuition told him that this place is full of danger, and it is a place where even gods may fall. Boss. Luoheo looked at the compass, his eyes almost fell out, and he stammered and shouted, there are many median gods nearby, at least 100 or more. They are. Come closer to us. You. Stay on the boat. As long as you don't leave Archuan, there shouldn't be any danger. Their target is me. If they really encounter an irresistible attack, Archuan, you take them to escape. I have a way to leave. The boat nodded vigorously. After saying this, Qin Lang rushed out, his body hanging over the ruins of the castle. The horns of the beast continued to capture the breath in the air, and the big blood red tail flicked gently. The person inside the castle should be Daphne's master, a sculpture with a severed arm, and a higher god, who has not yet fully awakened. Qin Lang licked his lips and said loudly, you hell tribe, don't you want to kill me? I'm here now. Don't be a coward. Come and kill me. A voice as loud as a bell covered the entire area. Point bus, and how dare you provoke the apostle? Go to hell. Gods appeared one after another in the void. They rushed towards Qin Lang with a thick sofa breath, waving a variety of weapons. Qin Lang, like the undefeated god of war, stood firm in the face of the gods. When they came close, he condensed a battle axe in his right hand and swept across the sky. Woo. The gods were shrouded in large swaths of divine fire. Many gods could not withstand the terrifying temperature and turned into ashes on the spot. Even if some of the gods in the medium god were not afraid of the divine fire and rushed out of the sea of fire, it was still difficult to cause substantial damage to Qin language. I want you to hunt him down. I want you to be stalkers. Grass. Qin Lang had no reservations and went on a killing spree. Wherever the battle axe passes, he is invincible. Dozens of gods have fallen in the blink of an eye. At the same time, Qin Lang was surprised to find that the hell seeds buried in his body by the old man began to sprout as the number of hell gods he killed increased. A large amount of knowledge and techniques poured into his mind, all from those who were killed by him. Killing gods. Fortunately, Qin Lang's mental power is strong enough. An ordinary person would have gone crazy and would not be able to accept so much confusing and complicated knowledge. No wonder the old timer said that the more you kill, the more benefits you will get. Kill. Qin Lang was full of fighting spirit, and his body was shrouded in divine fire. He rushed into the group of gods and killed them. Several people on the boat were stunned at this scene. After all, more than 100 middle gods were killed by Qin Lang, like he was killing chickens and dogs. This could not be considered a battle at all. It was clearly a one-sided massacre. More than 100 middle gods only lasted less than 5 minutes under Qin Lang's hands, and the entire army was annihilated. Point boom. Kicked open the closed castle door. Qin Lang strode in. Aren't you awesome? Come on, wake up and fight me. And do you really think I can't kill you? The severed arm sculpture rages. That's right. Qin Lang picked up the battle axe and pointed at the broken arm sculpture. You have only one choice now. Wake up early, otherwise you really won't be able to kill me. But waking up early means you are inherently deficient. How do you plan to choose? Chapter 436. Three Sisters. Qin Lang is not a fool. The reason why he dares to challenge the broken arm sculpture is that he is sure that he will not be able to fully wake up. If he wakes up in advance, he will be able to fight. If God cannot escape, he is invincible. The broken arm sculpture was silent for a while. Then Yael said, if you are willing to join the Hell Clan and become my spokesperson, the Hell's Gaze in you will naturally disappear, and there is no need for us to become mortal enemies. Can you stop farting? Qin Lang sneered. Along with you, ready to be used as a sacrifice at any time, just like Wang Lel. You Hell tribe has narrowed the road yourself, so you can't blame others. I I'm the apostle of hell, and I have a high status within the tribe. Even if you really kill me today, do you know what the consequences will be? No. Matter how bad it is, how bad can it be? At worst, it will deepen the gaze of hell, and be discovered by a higher god. So what, Qin Lang was very bachelor and spread his hands. Anyway, the only one in your clan who has awakened now is the middle god. When the higher god, like you, wakes up, I will either die or achieve a higher level. Don't think I will be afraid. There is a saying among human beings, if you are barefoot and not afraid of wearing shoes, after I kill you, I will kill other hell tribes, and I will fight against you in this life. Listening to what you said, there seems to be no room for change between you and the Hell Clan. No, it's your choice whether to wake up in advance or send those shrimp soldiers and crab generals over to kill them. Boom. 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 A deafening loud noise came from the sky outside the castle, and another group of Hell Clan medium gods arrived, even more in number. Qin Lang raised the corner of his mouth and crossed the gate to the outside of the castle. This Hell god seems different from the one I killed before. Is he so capable of dispatching troops? Apostle. This name sounds familiar. Qin Lang looked at the gods who were constantly breaking through the void and fell into thinking. A long time ago, he suffered the apostle's curse. In order to break the curse, he killed several apostles. Later, as his realm improved and the curse disappeared naturally, he didn't take it to heart. He didn't know what the difference between the two was. Is there any connection? No. Matter what kind of bastard he is, I will kill him if he dares to come. Qin Lang narrowed his eyes. His body was once again wrapped in divine fire, and his fighting spirit surged to the extreme at this moment. Kill him. The sound of the broken arm sculpture spread across the sky. Hundreds of gods took action together. Come. Qin Lang looked up to the sky and roared. Facing forward. City of Plenty. Under the world tree. 1 Zie sat in front of a void mirror, looking at Qin Lang fighting fiercely with the gods in the mirror. A trace of worry flashed on his blurred face. This guy's really desperate for his life. It's not good to offend anyone, but he provokes the Hell Clan. Even if this tribe is placed in all the worlds, it is one of the strongest echelons in overall strength. In the past, some members of the tribe even achieved great. One Zie didn't dare to say any more. Think of its name and you will be known. Are you worried about him? Teacher Shu walked over with a gentle voice. Shit, what I'm worried about is my heart. One Zie has a hot temper, which is in sharp contrast to the gentle Teacher Shu. No need to worry, teacher. Shu whispered softly. Anyone who has determined his position will have enemies and allies. There are many people in the world who can restrain the Hell tribe. One Zie suddenly raised his head. You are so calm. Did you do something, teacher? Shu spread out her slender hands, and the fallen leaves slowly fell on her palm. The fallen leaves have already carried the message. Somewhere, in a mysterious realm, the woman stretched out her hand to catch the falling leaves. A playful smile appeared on her almost flawless face, and murmured, "It's Key Refiner again." Another flawless head squeezed out of the woman's left neck said, "Every generation of key refiners who grow up is not a fuel efficient lamp. They always make waves. Sister, are you going to help him?" The woman in the middle shook her head slightly. "It's not a gang, it's a deal. The world tree has made an offer that I can't refuse. Even if it's not a deal, all the maggots in hell should be killed. It's them who turned us into what we are now." The flawless head on the right suddenly opened its eyes and spoke fiercely. "This is a strange god with 3 female heads." The woman randomly picked up a rusty sword, looked back at the ruined city, and said in a low voice, "The flames of revenge will burn the entire hell. Kill. Kill. Kill." The beautiful and flawless deformed head on the right side screamed crazily. Castle ruins. Qin Lang fought bloody battles, and his body was covered with wounds. Many of these wounds were torn apart before they could heal, and old wounds were piled on top of new ones. A good tiger cannot defeat a pack of wolves. Even though Qin Lang's combat power is astonishing in ancient times and today, it is still a bit difficult to fight against the endless army of gods. There are so many gods that it is impossible to kill them all. It is impossible to kill them all. Puff. A spear in the slant stab penetrated Qin Lang's body. Qin Lang looked at the severe pain and ignored the spear that burned his internal organs. He grabbed the sneak attack god and burned him to ashes, pulling out the blood-stained spear and throwing it heavily on the ground. Qin Lang looked around. At this time, there are still gods emerging from the void, and the speed at which they kill is far less than the speed at which the gods descend. He was thinking about whether to pause the attack, eat the food one bite at a time. I have almost killed you today. It will not be good for me to continue fighting. I will find a place to rest for a while. With a flash of thought, Qin Lang opened the door with a snap of his fingers, and the next second he was on the boat. There was no need for Qin Lang to say hello. The boat turned around and broke through the boundaries continuously. In a flash, everyone had arrived at an unfamiliar sea area. There is no breath of gods at present. This place is safe. Eluoheo was numb and spoke mechanically. Okay, let's rest here for a while. Qin Lang was so tired that he sat on the ground regardless of the blood all over his body, took out various foods, and began to feast on them. More than a dozen god limbs full of god sauce were made into dishes, which quickly replenished the physical strength lost during the battle. I didn't expect it to be so fast. It's still cool to besiege the city and fight for reinforcement. Qin Lang glanced at the progress, and it had reached 5%. In other words, he killed 400 gods in the previous battle. It seems that it is not impossible to kill 10,000 gods and become a beginner god. What made him happiest was the hell seed, which grew again and turned into a small sapling about a foot long, which stored a huge amount of knowledge and was waiting to be absorbed. After eating and drinking and resting for a while, Qin Lang calmed down and looked for the techniques that could be used in the hell seeds. At the same time, the ruins of the castle. The broken arm sculpture slowly broke, and a broken arm female demon walked out, emitting a deep and terrible laugh. The massacre outside the castle allowed him to obtain a large amount of divine power and wake up perfectly. It's a good kill. If you hadn't killed so many middle level gods, how could I wake up? Goose 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 goose. Qin Lang, I really have to thank you. The broken arm female demon rubbed her empty right shoulder, and a black arm grew out. She smiled and said, to thank you, I will slice off your flesh bit by bit, so that you can live. Worse than dead. Chapter 437 Descendants of the Gods. Nameless Sea. The boat undulated in the sea water and slowly moved forward. Qin Lang sat on the deck with his eyes closed, holding a fiery red seedling that exuded a strong sulfur smell in his hands. But if you look closely, you will find that it is not an entity, but a shadow. Qin Lang has maintained this posture for several hours. During this period, even Huang Long, who talked the most, did not disturb him, because he knows that this is related to Qin Lang's next battle and is not the time to make jokes. After a few more hours, the sky became completely dark. Qin Lang opened his eyes and dispersed the shadow. It took him a full 6 hours to pick out 2 techniques from this filthy ocean of knowledge that he could currently use, and that would also be effective against higher god. One is an escape technique called blood escape technique. The user can escape from the battlefield by burning the blood in the body at high speed. Although this technique does great damage to the body, the great thing is that it is driven by consciousness, so it will not appear soon. When I encountered one-eyed demon before, I couldn't move my body. This made up to the greatest extent the shortcomings of Breaking Gate that required using my fingers to cast spells. It can be regarded as a life-saving trump card for surviving by cutting off one's tail. The second door is the summoning technique called Divine Channeling. By signing a contract with a powerful god in hell, he can summon a perfectly awakened upper god level hell god to assist in the battle. Once used, he will fall into hell forever and become that a slave to a powerful god. Of course, Qin Lang would never use this technique to reach the limit unless he had to. He is a man who cherishes his life, and he does not want to become the slave of a powerful god in hell. Where are we? Qin Lang patted the guardrail. The boat told him that there was a medium-sized island not far ahead where he could stay briefly. If possible, it would be best to help him get the region card of the island. Qin Lang squinted his eyes and smiled. What you said nicely. You clearly meant to lend me my hand to get the regional card. Didn't I tell you? Next time you encounter this kind of thing, just say it. Friends, how can I still refuse? Can't. Woo. Black smoke drifts from the chimney, expressing the happy mood of the boat. Boss, Come on, come on, it's time for midnight snack. You've been meditating all afternoon, so you must be hungry. Try the steak I fried. Huang Lang summoned Qin Lang to come over for dinner. When he came to the oven, Qin Lang picked up a piece of steak and put it into his mouth. He praised, "Well, the heat is just right. Apart from fighting, you seem to be pretty good at doing other things. That's necessary. Otherwise I can create the Imperial Dragon Legion." Speaking of the Imperial Dragon Legion, you didn't go to your previous comrades. Look. For a yo-yo, the Legion will probably be disbanded a long time ago. To be honest, brother, I just wanted to recruit more younger brothers, so that I wouldn't have to face it alone if I was bullied. After all, I'm not very good at fighting. But who knows, it's getting bigger and bigger, and I can't hold it back, even if I want to. Fortunately, I met you, the boss. Otherwise I would have to bear a lot of blame and infamy for those shady and ruthless bastards. You get a lot of reputation just for this. Oh, I'm helpless. The atmosphere on the boat was harmonious, and a few familiar people made fun of each other, which was very interesting. After chatting for a while, Qin Lang suddenly changed his expression and looked up at the sky. The sky, covered by a large cloud of rain clouds, gave off a very strong smell of sulfur. It came so quickly, it didn't give me any time to breathe. Qin Lang clenched his fists and his face was condensed. Through the analysis of the horns, he judged that the person was the same higher god as the one-eyed god, Zizi. Lightning tore through the void, and a succubus came out, her gaze firmly fixed on the accelerating boat. He licked the corners of his mouth, swung his tail slightly behind his waist, and came to the deck in just a flash. The unusually terrifying aura made the three emperors and dragons and the big-headed god completely speechless. As for Luoheo, he fainted the moment the succubus boarded the ship, unable to withstand the pollution she inadvertently released. Qin Lang, I have to thank you for killing so many hell gods, otherwise I would not wake up so early. The succubus's smile was cruel and cold. When Qin Lang heard this, he immediately understood that the female demon was the sculpture with a broken arm. The purpose of recruiting them is not to block me, but to wake up in advance. Of course. The female demon sneered, "The Hell Clan cannot kill each other. I can only use your hands to kill them and cut off their flesh and blood." The female demon slowly came to Qin Lang. "Weren't you very arrogant before? Show me how arrogant you are again." Sweat fell from his forehead. Qin Lang complained endlessly in his heart. "Tell me how you want to die. If possible, I choose not to die." Puff. The female demon laughed loudly and suddenly punched Qin Lang away. A seemingly ordinary punch almost broke all the bones in Qin Lang's body. The gap between higher god and middle god is so huge that they are like two different species in terms of combat power. You, who are being watched by hell, must die today. The succubus slowly raised her finger. In this case, Qin Lang was worried. Since it is a knife anyway, it is better to fight with him. The succubus seemed to sense something, and she raised her head. I saw holy light suddenly blooming from the thick clouds, and a god shrouded in holy light fell like a meteor, with the target being the succubus. What? The celestial clan? Why are there still celestial clan? The succubus was shocked when she saw who was coming. Instantly, the sword of the god of the celestial race had chopped down. The female demon's body was burned by the holy light, and she screamed in pain. The holy light gradually dimmed, revealing the existence inside. It was a god with a human female body. The only difference was that this god had 3 heads, all derived from the neck. You didn't expect it, you stinky maggot from hell. Do you really think that our celestial race is extinct? The female demon retreated cautiously. What do you want? What do I want? The middle head said sternly, "The powerful people in your tribe destroyed the habitat of our tribe and slaughtered countless of my tribesmen. Guess what I will do as the last descendant of the celestial race when I meet the lone and weak hell race? It's bad." The female demon thought it was not good and turned around to escape into the void. The 2 heads on the left and right suddenly stretched like rubber bands, biting on his arms and neck respectively. "I'll bite you to death, stinky maggot from hell. Die." The 2 heads hated the hell race so much that they would not let go. Ugh. The female demon could not move her body and could only groan in pain. Don't kill me. I'm an apostle of the Supreme Council. If I die, it will definitely attract the attention of the Supreme Council. If they knew that there are still gods in the world, they will hunt you down at all costs. You don't need to remind me of these things. I didn't want to kill you at all. The gods turned their heads and looked at Qin Lang. It's best for you to do it. Chapter 438. Who has kidney pills? Me. Qin Lang was slightly stunned. I really didn't expect that the battle between two superior gods would involve him. What? You don't dare. The right side of the head biting the succubus neck was very crazy and bloodthirsty, and blood flowed from the gap between the teeth while speaking. Why don't you dare? Killing one is killing. Killing 100 is killing. What a bullshit Supreme Council. What a bullshit apostle. At this time, how could Qin Lang hesitate and stab the female demon's body with the bone sword? The right side of the head let out a goose laugh. Okay, this is your attitude. Don't stab him. I don't want you to kill him so quickly. I'll teach you how to kill him. That's enough, third sister. Now is not the time for you to fool around. The middle head, which was relatively normal, scolded and pointed at the succubus head. Stab its heart. But Qin Lang stabbed with his sword and easily penetrated the female demon's head. The female demon's body trembled, but she could do nothing. She could only watch as her divine source was absorbed, and her life slowly passed away. After a few minutes, the female demon quietly turned into a pile of ashes, and Qin Lang clearly felt that the hell seeds had grown a lot. The perfectly awakened higher god brings an improvement to the hell seeds that is unimaginable. It was too late to look at the knowledge in the hell seeds. Qin Lang bowed to the cauliflower god beside him. He had no other meaning. It was really that this god looked too much like a cauliflower, with one neck and 3 heads crowded on it, and his hairstyle was too ugly. No, the same. My name is very long. To simplify it, it should be Lana Luo. The head in the middle opened his and mouth pointed at the heads on the left and right sides respectively. These are my second and third sisters. Hello, sisters. Thank you to the 3 sisters for saving my life. Qin Lang's attitude was extremely low. There was nothing that could be done about it. After all, the other party was just trying to kill the higher god, as if it were for fun. The second sister was a little shy and nodded lightly. The third sister, on the other hand, was very bold and wild, laughing loudly and saying, "It sounds so nice. Let me call you a few more times. Goose, 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 goose." Lana Luo sat on the ground, opened his palms, and revealed something. "I'm here for him." Is this Qin Lang once understood the art of breaking the world under the world tree, and recognized it at a glance. It was a leaf of the world tree, but he did not recognize the divine inscriptions on the leaves. It turns out they were the rescuers invited by Teacher Shu. Qin Lang felt very warm in his heart. Who could be unhappy and warm at home with such an elder who always thinks about him? In order to save you, Yggdrasil promised me 2 conditions. First, reshape the bodies of my 2 sisters. This is something he cannot do with his current strength. It will probably take some time to grow. I'm not in a hurry. Anyway, after being together for so many years, we are used to it. Second, you must sacrifice your body to reproduce for me. Well, Qin Lang was stunned for a moment. Reproduce offspring? He couldn't understand what kind of niche literature this was. The second sister blushed and was a little shy. "Why are you pretending? How do you humans reproduce?" The third sister laughed wildly. "It's just a male mating with a female. You humans call this behavior lovemaking, playing poker, having sex, fried rice, fuck. No, I know. But, why me, Lan?" Luo was generous, as if he was talking about a trivial matter. Key refiners, especially higher level key refiners, are hard to find. As a male body, I can barely pass the test. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. Come on. He began to take off his armor. Wait a moment. Qin Lang's face turned pale with fright. "Here. What's wrong?" Lana Luo had a puzzled expression on his face. "Isn't it possible?" Qin Lang squinted at the Huanglan trio, who were smiling meanly. Each of these 3 bastards was meaner than the other, and they were all watching the fun with their arms folded. They even felt that the distance was a bit far, so they took a few steps forward. "Oh." Lana Luo nodded. "I understand. Humans have a sense of shame, and there is something called love that makes a common thing like reproduction extremely complicated. Strange, you can't be considered a human now. All my bones have been changed, but I respect you. Lana Luo stood up and moved forward. The moment his palm touched Qin Lang, they both disappeared. This made the Huang Lang trio extremely anxious. Oh, I thought I could see a good show. That's too stingy. We just want to observe. Poison Poppy expressed disappointment. This is a deserted area. There are ruins all around, but no matter how dilapidated and ancient it is, people can still feel the grandeur of the glorious period. This was once a part of paradise, but unfortunately it has been destroyed. Lana Luo's eyes dimmed as he recalled some sad things. Do you have any other needs? Qin Lang seemed to have something stuck in his throat. He had thousands of words to say, but nothing came out. See, is this going to breed? Can you please first let me watch a movie, or eat hot pot or something, since there is no other need. Lan Luo nodded and took off his old armor. The second sister blushed with embarrassment, and the third sister screamed with excitement. Second sister and third sister, let them watch like this? Isn't it good? It doesn't matter. Lana Luo laughed it off. We three sisters are one, and we can add a little more. Isn't it what you humans call interest out? Wait a minute. Qin Lang was really scared. I can't wait any longer. Help. Aha. It was 5 hours later that Qin Lang and Lana Luo returned to the deck. Qin Lang's face turned pale, and he walked a little lightly, as if he was stepping on cotton. Lana Luo and the second sister, on the other hand, had rosy complexions, as if they had been nourished. The third sister was a little outrageous. She was clearly over, but she kept rolling her eyes and sticking out her tongue, as if she had sucked. From today on, I will always stay by your side, but don't expect me to kill any rotten fish or shrimp. I only kill the gods of hell who are upper god and above. Do you understand? Well, Qin Lang followed Lana Luo silently, like a humble bag-carrying brother. This is for you. Lan Luo threw out a ball of light. It contains some simple techniques of the Celestial Clan. Take some time to learn them. They will be useful when facing the Hell Clan. I'll go take a rest first. Reproduction at 7 o'clock every morning. Is that okay with you? Qin Lang. No. 7 o'clock. Reproduction? Every day. A man's fragile heart was broken. Lana Luo had just entered the cabin to rest when the Huang Lang trio came over to ask, talking like three gossiping flies. Qin Lang said unhappily, shut up. I don't want to talk about this. Prepare a midnight snack immediately. Oh, what would you like to eat, boss? Deer whip, tiger whip, ginseng, Ganoderma lucidum, kidney. By the way, who of you has kidney tablets? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 439, Taoyuan Island. A few days later, an island with beautiful scenery. Not only does the climate here be mild, it is also rich in resources from food and clothing to materials for strengthening equipment or breaking through realms. You can always find them, as long as you are willing. A team of 5 people was conducting daily patrols along the beach. The content of the chat was even more varied, and everyone had a heartfelt smile on their face. What am I talking about? The tide came up yesterday, and there must have been some fish and shrimp washed up. Look, a 14 or 15-year-old boy in the team rushed over excitedly and hugged a strange fish weighing more than 50 kilograms. This strange fish is very tenacious and can still breathe after being exposed to the scorching sun for a whole night. Hey, Wah did a great job. We have fish to eat again tonight. The eldest man in the team gave a thumbs up. A few people were tired from patrolling, so they found a shady place to rest. The old man lit the cigarette and took a deep breath. Just when he was about to say something, his pupils suddenly condensed. At the end of his vision, he saw a ship slowly heading towards Paradise Island. The old man wiped his eyes vigorously and took out the telescope from the storage space. After making sure that he was not dazzled, the old man exclaimed in disbelief, "How is this possible? There is a ship that can pass through the Sea of Gods. Hurry, go back and inform the boss. The group of people stood up in a hurry and stumbled away from the scene. Finally we're here. Qin Lang jumped off the boat with Huang Long and others and stretched his body. Oh, it took a whole week to get here. This is what you said is not far away. I seriously doubt that our time units are inconsistent. But don't worry, I will definitely get the area card here for you. Xiao Zhao nodded excitedly. Qin Lang glanced at Lan Luo who was standing at the bow of the boat. Then I'll take them for a walk first and come back as soon as I get the card. Lan Luo looked at him expresslessly and said nothing. Their second sister smiled and said, don't waste too much time. There is nothing more important than reproduction. The third sister screamed like crazy. Reproduce. Multiply. Multiply. Oh. Okay, I understand. I'll try to come back as soon as possible. That's weird. Qin Lang smiled bitterly, winked at Huang Long, and a group of 5 people, including a big-headed god, rushed into the woods ahead. I ran more than 10 kilometers in one breath. Qin Lang leaned against the tree and gasped for breath. Looking back on the past week, it was simply a hell on earth. Every morning at 7 o'clock, he would be captured by Lan Luo at a fixed time and taken to the alien battlefield for breeding. The 3 sisters were full of tricks and would not let him go unless they fought fiercely for 3 to 5 hours at a time. That is to say, his body is almost beyond the scope of human beings, and he is strong and strong enough. If it were any other person, let alone 7 days, he would be torn apart in 2 days. Now Qin Lang finally understands why the fine stallions in the rats of course need to be carefully fed, but they can't stand it if they are almost fed. But then again, in addition to being abused by Lan Luo in these 7 days, he also gained a lot of benefits. He learned several celestial techniques from Lan Luo, and each one is powerful enough to pervert. Now when he meets the high god of the Hell tribe, although he still cannot defeat him, he definitely has the ability to protect himself. Within 10 minutes, even the higher gods may not be able to kill him. Boskin, the compass doesn't show a specific location. On such a big island, where should we go to find someone with a regional card? Luo Heo asked silently, looking at the compass. Don't be in a hurry to find the card. Let's take this opportunity to rest on the island for a while. If I continue like this, I will be squeezed dry before I can become a god. Qin Lang shook his head vigorously, and when he saw Huang Long swishing about to speak, he took the lead and kicked him. If you dare to make a joke about this, you will be finished. If you see whether I will chop you or not. Oh brother, am I the kind of person who rubs salt into people's wounds? I want to remind you that there are traces of human activities on this island. Huang Long smiled. Nonsense, you think I'm blind because I can't see so many footprints. There were many clear footprints on the soft and fluffy ground. In fact, as soon as Qin Lang landed on the island, he discovered that there were a lot of traces of human activities here. The footprints and the smell left on it were very fresh, and it was obvious that he had just left. First, find the shelter and inquire about it to see if there are any relevant clues. Qin Lang waved his hand and took out a reinforced off-road vehicle. Since the island is restricted by strong rules and cannot fly, off-road vehicles naturally become the best means of transportation. Damn. These bastards are so arrogant. They think this is their own territory. They dare to drive in. The man on the hillside spoke fiercely, with dozens of elites crawling beside him, each with war camouflage painted on their faces. Do you want to give them some color and let them retreat? The young girl with a single ponytail took out an arrow as she spoke. Hey, don't act rashly until you know what state the other party is in. If they are very strong, we would be seeking death if we attack first. The man lowered his voice and told the girl not to be impulsive. Brother, you are too careful. With your level of immortality, who can be your opponent? The girl shook her head. Big brother is good at everything, but he always likes to make other people's ambitions destroy his own prestige. He is a majestic, immortal, and he is probably one of the strongest people in the world. Stop talking nonsense. There is an immortal body above the immortal body. No one knows whether there is a realm above the immortal body. The man gave his sister a shock. Follow them. No one is allowed to fire the first shot without my order. Yes, boss. Everyone answered in lowered voices. Boss. Qin, there are some little mice on the mountain over there. They seem to be following us. Luoheo, who was the weakest in the team, looked at the top of the mountain, where everyone was hiding. Well, I discovered them. They are all awakened ones. The strongest one is an immortal. He should be a local aboriginal. Qin Lang nodded. We are here to hunt for treasure this time. No killing is allowed. You know, who has nothing to do to be serious with a group of awakened people. That's not a disease. Huang Long spread his hands. The off-road vehicle was extremely fast, following the traces of human activities over the mountains and ridges. After crossing another mountain, a shelter like a paradise came into viewpoint. 100-meter high waterfall flows down. Mountain springs gush from the ground, moisten the farmland. Dogs bark and roosters crow in the tile house, and a gurgle stream runs through the entire shelter and merges into a lake in the center of the island. There are people beside the lake, casting nets, fishing, and people boating in the lake. It's so beautiful here. Poison Popper's eyes widened. Qin Lang glanced at the scattered buildings and nodded heavily. This is what he imagined the paradise to be like. Stop. Who are you? There were rapid footsteps behind them, and the group of local natives who had been following them from 2 hills away chased after them. They were all panting from exhaustion and out of breath. Why did you break into our shelter? The man asked sternly, holding a knife. How dare you, you ants? I am, before Emperor Long could even take a step, Qin Lang slapped him on the back of the head. Have you forgotten what I told you? Apologize. Huang Long held his head and smiled bitterly. Yeah, stay here. Chapter 440, Fragments of Heaven. Are you fucking apologizing? The knife-wielding man, who was also the strongest being in the team, immortal, scolded sternly. Qin Lang smiled and smoothed things over. We are just passing by and have no intention of breaking into the shelter. Besides, you see, we are so weak. Even if we want to break in, we don't have the ability. While talking and laughing, Qin Lang had already disguised his realm as an awakened one, and when the others saw this, they naturally followed suit. Stop talking so sweetly. Do you think we are stupid? The girl with a single ponytail yelled angrily. Little sister. The knife-wielding man may have felt that Qin Lang and his group really had no ill intentions, so he moved to his companions to put down their weapons. I just have a question. Arteoan Island is surrounded by forbidden waters. How did you get in? Didn't you encounter any encounters along the way? Attack? How could it not be attacked? Huang Long shook his head. We have experienced too many attacks. This journey is simply more difficult than Tang Monk's Buddhist scriptures. However, this matter cannot be explained clearly in a short time. If you really want to hear it, why don't you invite us in and sit down, chatting while eating and drinking? As soon as they heard there was a story to listen to, everyone's eyes began to shine. The girl with a single ponytail, who had glared at several people not long ago, tugged on the elder brother's sleeve. Brother, they really don't look like bad people. The man holding the knife smiled bitterly. You really want to hear stories? Ken. The man sheathed his sword and said, since you are not hostile, please come inside. Thank you. Qin Lang cupped his hands and the group entered the shelter. When seeing a stranger visiting, the native people looked wary and curious. Have you lived here for a long time? Qin Lang asked casually. It's been almost 4 years. The man replied with emotion. If you didn't mention it, I would have almost forgotten that the apocalypse has been coming for 4 years, and my sister was just a little girl at that time. How can you have the nerve to accuse me? At that time, you were not a smart guy wearing tight pants and shoes. The girl with a single ponytail immediately retorted. The people around him started laughing, completely ignoring the girl with the ponytail's threat of not laughing. The man took Qin Lang and others into the only reception center in the shelter and then ordered people to get some food and drink. It is said to be a reception center, but in fact it is a large wooden structure house with tables, chairs, benches, and kerosene lamps. People only come here when the shelter has meetings, and it is empty most of the time. Soon fresh fruit and food were served, and the wine was fruit wine made by locals. It had a mellow taste and a very low alcohol content, so even children could drink it. Emperor Langton Tonten drank 2 large glasses of fruit wine and started talking nonsense as soon as he wiped his mouth. You want to hear a story, right? Here it comes. Speak quickly, Shan Ponytail urged. That day, I, Emperor Azinjiro, took a boat to a deserted island. I heard someone shouting in the distance, help me, if anyone can save me, I will be his wife. Bad luck. Poison Poppy rolled her eyes wildly. Qin Lang laughed it off and quietly turned the horns hidden in his body to explore for shelter. It's not like he has never encountered similar situations in the snowy land before. It can be said that he is naturally wary of Taoyuan Island in this kind of apocalyptic world. He seriously suspects that this island is also a trap set by a certain god in order to awaken. However, after exploring, Qin Lang was surprised to find that the island did not have any aura of gods. The island was completely natural. The only thing worth noting was that there was a substance he did not recognize buried nearly a kilometer below the island, and the horns of the animals were also. I can't analyze what it is. Find time to go down and have a look tonight. Qin Lang looked out the window. He seriously suspected that the reason why this island was so peaceful and prosperous was related to the material in the depths, and the level of this material far exceeded his set of bones. The emperor dragon on the side was spitting and dancing. Hey, when it comes to the process of our adventure on the sea, it is really a long story for a child to tell. If you pick out a section at random, it will shock the world and make the ghosts cry. It goes on for another day. Countless gods and monsters came out of the void and wanted to take our lives. Can I give in? I shouted. Hey, your grandpa Huang Lang is here. Who dares to do anything wrong? PFFT. Just brag. I believe you. Wei Juan, a girl with a single ponytail, laughed loudly. How can you fight so many monsters if you are such a bad guy? Hey, how do you talk? What is food? In a fight, force is important, but do you know what is most important? Wisdom. Huang Lang pointed to his head. Brother Huang Lang, I'm in charge of the apocalypse. We have experienced countless fierce battles, dangerous battles, and bloody battles. Okay, little sister, don't interrupt. Just keep talking. What next? Wei Guo urged, and he was also fascinated. Everything about this Taoyuan island is good. The only drawback is the serious lack of entertainment activities. Those who have male and female friends, or are married are fine. At worst, they should turn off the lights early and play some bed games between men and women, like Wei Guo. She was so single that her eyes were glowing green. Xiaoshu.com sky darkened unconsciously, and the crowd dispersed, making an appointment to come back in the morning to listen to the story. When Qin Lang saw the villagers leaving, he drew his finger in the air, border-breaking gate. The next second, Qin Lang came to the depths of the island. He looked at the irregular picture standing in midair not far away, and fell into deep thought. It's this thing. Even the horn can't analyze its composition, but what exactly is it? This is Fragment of Paradise. Lana Luo appeared next to him like a ghost. Looking at the picture, he let out a sigh. How come you? Qin Lang was stunned. When he found that his second and third sister's eyes were red, he closed his mouth decisively. There are many fragments of heaven like this, but they are no longer useful. Lana Luo gently stroked the edge of the fragment. The moment they were destroyed, they were destined to be buried in the long river of time and turned into dust. The divinity of the piece in front of you has long been lost. Lan Luo suddenly shed tears, and the tears fell, moistening the ground under his feet and growing bright flowers. Sister, we will definitely restore the glory of the Celestials. We will definitely kill our way through hell. That's right. Kill all the hells. Kill them. Destroy them. Lana Luo wiped away her tears. The most urgent task is to increase the number of Celestials. I can't do it alone. Qin Lang, no, you can talk if you want to. You can be sad if you want to. Why are you looking at me? It's not even 7 in the morning yet. Of course, Qin Lang didn't dare to say this. He could only mutter it silently in his heart. Lana Luo took a step forward and said faintly, I know that the excess of demands during this period have caused you a lot of trouble, but I have no other way. The more powerful the race, the more difficult it is to reproduce. I can only, Qin Lang closed his eyes and turned his head. No need to explain so much, come on. Chapter 441, The Supreme Council and Pirates. An ancient castle shrouded in an evil atmosphere, exuding a choking smell of sulfur all the time. 12 phantoms of ancient beings surround a long table. Their shapes are all different, but they have one thing in common. They all have horns on their foreheads and tails on their waists and backs. They are the 12 leaders of the Supreme Council. I believe you all already know the matter. Nadia, who was perfectly awakened, fell. Things have developed far beyond expectations. This human named Qin Lang must not be allowed to live anymore. The ancient being sitting in the middle spoke quietly. He is the smallest among the gods, only 1.5 or 1.6 meters tall. But when he speaks, the whole place is silent, and you can hear the drop of a pin, which shows that he has a high status in the Supreme Council. I thought I could kill Qin Lang by releasing a large number of divine slaves to pretend to assist and let Nadia wake up perfectly. I didn't expect him to be such a waste. It's my fault. The burly manager in the last seat stood up and crossed his right arm, bowing in front of his chest. I will kill him myself. 11. Eyes fell on the manager. There is a big secret buried in Qin language. Kill him and dig out the secret. Godini, you know, this is related to the dignity of the Supreme Council. Once it fails, what will be the consequences? The nobleman said quietly. Please don't worry. Goldeni slowly exited the meeting hall, and a superior god, who was waiting in the form of a gargoyle, came closer. Sir, it's just a human being. Why do you need to take action yourself? Let the villain. Oh. A big hand appeared in the void and grabbed the gargoyle firmly. With a little force, the gargoyle spit out blood. He begged for mercy sternly. Sir, I know I was wrong. Please forgive me. Don't talk while I'm thinking. Yes, I was wrong. The big hand disappeared, and the gargoyle hit the ground hard. He struggled to hold up his wings and limped to follow Goldeni. This funny scene immediately attracted ridicule from other congressmen's followers. Snort. Early morning. The sunlight was crushed by the cracks in the window, and every inch fell on the ground. The dog next door is barking, and the rooster is crowing. A new day has begun. Qin Lang walked out of the wooden house with a pale face. He took a cup of cool stream water and splashed it on his face. He was wondering why the stream had a strange smell. When he looked up, he saw several little kids wearing crotchless pants peeing into the stream not far upstream. He looked about 5 or 6 years old. Just when Qin Lang was about to have a fit, the mother of one of the little kids grabbed his ears and yelled at him, kicking his butt a few times. How many times have I told you? Don't pee in the stream. Wow. Mom, I was wrong. Wow, the little kid cried loudly. Qin Lang's mood instantly became beautiful. Brothers Iokin, good morning. Wei Juan waved her hand towards Qin language. Today, her hairstyle was a pair of ponytails, bouncing up and down, and the two ponytails were swaying very gracefully. Come here so early to listen to your brother Huang Long brag. Qin Lang narrowed his eyes. Hey, we usually get up this early. We are used to it. I forgot to ask yesterday, how did you get here? Qin Lang took out some food cards and considered what to eat in the morning, or whether to eat them all. Wei Juan grabbed Qin Lang's food card, her big eyes sparkling. Good guy. There are so many food cards. Confiscate them. In a shelter, all resources must be centralized first and then distributed uniformly. Individuals are not allowed to hold cards without authorization. Oh, then why did you pack the milk tea cards separately? Yes, you. No matter. Wei Juan pinched her waist and said arrogantly, you are a little awakened person. Don't care about the affairs of a second awakening person, you know. Otherwise you will be beaten easily. Yes, I was wrong. Okay. Qin Lang shook his head and smiled bitterly. What did you ask just now? Oh, why did we come here? At that time, not long after the high school entrance examination, I pestered my brother to buy me a mobile phone and went shopping. Suddenly it rained cards from the sky. There were many monsters, and the mall security closed the mall door. Wei Juan seemed to remember something terrible, and her body trembled. Many people died that night. It was my brother and several other security guards who protected us. We managed to survive until dawn, when the monster rushed in, and then Wei Juan paused, then those monsters suddenly turned into ashes, and we all fainted. When we woke up, we were already here. My brother said that there was a god protecting us in the dark. Indeed. Qin Lang felt a little emotional in his heart. He guessed that it should be the fragment of paradise that fell to the earth together with the monster. This fragment instinctively used the last ray of divinity to protect everyone and created this Taoyuan island. Establishing a forbidden sea emerged protective desire of the celestials is ingrained in their genes. This is true for gods and buildings. If they had DNA, breaking heaven into pieces, how terrifying that would be. Qin Lang didn't dare to think about it. Oh, I won't tell you anymore. Brother Huang Long, hurry up and tell me the story of a wolf and 5 dogs who stormed into the castle in anger seeing Huang Long yawning and going out. Wei Juan ran over. Oh, Xiao Juan is here. You have to wait a moment to hear the story. I'm hungry. Please allow me to have breakfast first. I have it here. Chicken, duck, fish and everything. Which one do you want to eat? Wei Juan took out the stack of food cards, ignoring Qin Lang who rolled his eyes to the sky, focusing on rebelling against Xiangang, and lining his own pockets. What? A double standard. Qin Lang's teeth were itching with anger. In the next few days, everyone stayed on Taoyuan Island Point. In addition to the daily reproduction work, Qin Lang basically spent the rest of his time learning god techniques. Although his life was painful, it was enjoyable. He could clearly feel the improvement of his actual combat ability. That afternoon, the wind swept the dark clouds, and more than a dozen pirate fleets with skulls hanging appeared on the east side of Taoyuan Island. Wei Guo immediately led the elites of the shelter to the beach to meet the enemy. This place is really good. There are mountains and water. We will use this as a settlement in the future. The unusually tall captain picked up a wine gourd, gulped down several kilograms of white wine, wiped his mouth, and said, "Little guys, go to the island. You fucking leave faster." In addition to hundreds of pirates, there was also a group of women from various shelters that they robbed when they were roaming the alien sea. These women's hands and feet were chained, naked, and there was no fear in their eyes, only despair and numbness. They had gone through countless inhuman tortures in this end times of moral decline and lawlessness. Women, especially beautiful, young, and powerless women, are equivalent to resources. These people, beasts. Wei Guo held the long knife tightly. Boss, we must not let them find our shelter. The men and women in the team were furious. You bunch of stinky pirates, do you have any humanity? What do you want to do by landing on our island? Wei Juan was a young man with a nagging personality. Before Wei Guo gave any orders, she jumped up and shot an arrow at the captain. The captain caught the arrow easily, then tilted his head and looked at her with interest. Oh, it's a beautiful girl. Be my 37th wife. I'll be your mother. Wei Juan pinched her waist. Do you know what realm my eldest brother is in? How dare you land on the island? The captain threw away the arrow. Oh, your brother? Then I really don't know. Tell me. Wei Guo and dozens of elite soldiers lined up and stood on the hill to confront the pirates despite the huge disparity in numbers. Wei Guo was not afraid at all. I tell you, my brother is immortal body. Do you know the value of immortal body? Even if the knife cuts on the body, it will heal automatically. Wei Juan shouted loudly. That's right. I advise you to leave quickly. I don't want to kill people. Wei Guo also supported his sister. By the way, you have to let these women go before leaving. The pirates looked at each other, and the scene was dead silent. Heh, ha, puff, ha ha, ha 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 ha. Suddenly, the pirates burst into laughter. The captain laughed so hard that he almost fell off the bow and slapped his thighs hard. Immortality, ha ha, ha 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 ha. I am dying of laughter. Wow, I can't stand it. Many pirates were so happy that they couldn't stand and rolled on the beach holding their bellies. Ha 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 ha. What are you laughing at? Are you crazy? What's so funny about immortality? Wei Juan gritted her teeth. It's so funny. After so many years of traveling in the alien sea, this is the funniest joke I have ever heard. This little girl actually threatened us with immortality. Ha ha ha. Little girl, do you know that immortality is not even qualified to clean the toilet on our ship? The lowest we have to clean the toilet is immortality. The second mate laughed. At this moment, the idiom of a frog in a well has been embodied. The third mate shook his head repeatedly. It was pathetic, pitiful, and ridiculous that people could be so ignorant. Point boom. The captain jumped high and fell heavily. His 3-meter tall body looked like a giant. Okay, stop struggling. Be my 37th wife. I hope you are strong enough. After all, the first 36 wives were all killed by me. Ha 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 ha, ha. Ha 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 ha, another. Strange laugh. You are looking for death. Wei Juan was already 18 years old and had long understood the relationship between men and women. Such dirty words made her cheeks red. She pulled out several arrows and shot them continuously. Puff puff puff. The arrows were shot at the captain without exception. The captain screamed and knelt down. Ah. It hurts. You actually shot me. I'm going to die. Oh, I am dead. Plop. The captain fell to the ground with his legs spread out and twitched a few times. Haha, ha 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 ha. Boss, your acting is really bad. Too bad. You don't even want to use ketchup. The pirates and several assistants laughed so hard that they were numb, and they all made fun of him. At this time, Wei Jiu's forehead was sweating, and his hands holding the knife were shaking. He was the one with the highest level in this group of people. He had discovered what the pirate captain said was true. The strength of any one of the pirates was enough to wipe them out. Little sister, and you. Wei Jiu trembled and said desperately, run away. Chapter 442. Are you dissatisfied? Escape. Where to escape? My 37th wife. The captain jumped up and sat up. As he laughed, he had crossed 100 meters and arrived in front of Wei Juan. His palm suddenly became larger, and he grabbed fiercely. Facing the captain of God Realm, Wei Juan couldn't resist at all. She was grabbed like a chicken. When the captain exerted a little force with her fingers, she immediately spat out blood and her whole body's bones were broken. Wow. Wei Juan was bleeding from all her orifices and almost fainted from the pain. Little sister, I'll fight you damn hard. Wei Guo's eyes were bloodshot. He jumped up with a roar and struck the captain's arm hard. With a clang sound, the knife split into two, but not a single trace was left on the captain's body. Under the absolute level gap, Wei Guo could not see the captain's health bar at all. Ha 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 ha. It makes me laugh so hard. Even a small earthworm dares to shake a big tree. It's ridiculous. Several deputies came over and taunted him wildly. The second officer was a white-faced scholar dressed as a military advisor. He held a folding fan, tapped his palms a few times and said, "Boss, although these people are of no use, if you keep them, if you sell them to other strongholds, they can mine or something. You can exchange some resources. What do you think?" At this time, all the captain's attention was focused on the half-dead Wei Juan. He grabbed Wei Juan's legs and hung her upside down. He licked his lips and said, "You kid, you are indeed a capitalist. You know how to squeeze them dry. Marrow, eyelines leave this matter to you. I'm going to." The captain flicked Wei Juan's blood-covered face with his other hand. "I can't wait any longer." The second officer smiled and bowed. "Don't you worry, boss. Just go ahead and do your work." Hehehe. Just as the captain turned around, a voice came from afar. "Let that girl go. If anything happens, come to me." It turned out that the Qin Lang trio arrived at the scene. They were not on Taoyuan Island just now, but followed Qin Lang back to Fengreo City. Qin Lang went to the World Tree to ask about things related to God's technique. They came back early because they were bored. However, when they went to the village to ask, they learned that pirates had arrived, so they rushed over as soon as possible. "Brother Qin Lang, run away quickly and leave me alone." Wei Juan burst into tears, a mixture of blood and tears dripping down her messy hair, which made people feel distressed. "Damn it, Sister Wei Juan." Qin Lang was furious. "Let her go." The captain thought Qin Lang and the others were local aborigines, so he didn't take it to heart. He snapped his fingers and said, "Kill them. I hate it when someone screams when I'm getting ready to do something. Kill." The third officer rushed forward with a ferocious smile. The Skeleton King took a step forward, summoned the battle axe in his hand, and swung it horizontally. The aura of the gods that overflowed in an instant caused the expressions of the three officers to change suddenly. But at this time, there was no time to hide, and there was a click. The third officer was cut crosswise, and the parts above the chest flew out, and he died on the spot. The little Chushan, facing the divine realm, didn't even have a chance to recover from his wounds. What? Huh? The third officer was killed instantly. The pirates and other lieutenants were shocked, and their jaws hit the ground in shock. God. Realm. The captain was so keen. His eyes widened instantly, and he turned around in surprise. Now that things have happened, the trio naturally no longer hide anything, and they all reveal their divine aura. Hiss. The captain couldn't help but gasp. On this small island, 3 gods actually live. This is outrageous. In the alien sea where they lived, the strongest pirate group only had 2 masters of the gods. The captain stuttered, not knowing what to say. Let the person go first. Qin Lang clicked his finger. The captain did not dare to hesitate and threw Wei Juan over. Poison Poppy hugged her and immediately took out the potion and drank it for her. After being repaired by the potion, Wei Juan regained some strength, curled up in Poison Poppy's arms and cried loudly, "Sister Poppy." She was really frightened. "Don't cry, we're here, it's okay." Poison Poppy signaled Wei Juan and others to step back, as long as there are no other casualties. What on earth are you retreating to the back first? Wei Juan and those elites are not stupid. How could they not know that these 3 people turned out to be real great gods? They have been hiding their strength to amuse children. Now is not the time to gossip. The captain took off his pirate hat and put it on his chest, bowed slightly. Prince Zhang. I didn't know that this island is a secluded place of 3 brothers. I offended you so much. Please don't take it offense. The third child is too stupid to dare to worship God. You deserve to die." These words were quite open, and he gave enough face, but Qin Lang had no quality, and did not by his fault at all. He narrowed his eyes and said, "You dare to bully my sister Wei Juan? You think you will die for a 3rd-year-old, so let this matter be ignored." Over. Prince Zhang apologized with a smile on his face. Then, "Brother Qin Lang, what are you going to do? If you want compensation, I'm willing to pay it." He really didn't want to, and didn't dare to fight against the 3 gods. He had almost no chance of winning. "Sister, tell me how you want Brother Qin Lang to deal with them." Qin Lang really likes Wei Juan, a silly and cute little girl. Wei Juan cried and said, "He just broke all my bones and almost hurt me to death. Brother Qin Lang, help me beat him to death." Receive. Qin Lang clenched his fists loudly. "You heard it. My sister said she was going to beat you to death. It's boring for you to do this. I told you that I didn't mean it. I'm willing to apologize and compensate you, but you still refuse to let me go." Prince Zhang was very angry. "Fuck." Qin Lang yelled, "Who the hell are you having trouble with?" "Huh?" The Skeleton King waved his axe and said angrily, "Are you a little dissatisfied, Prince?" Zhang's mouth twitched. I didn't do." Poppy said in a cold voice, "Boss, what nonsense are you talking to them about? Just kill him. He beat Sister Wei Juan so badly that even 100 deaths are not enough to make up for it. There's nothing wrong with it. Come on." Xiushu.com. Qin Lang and Skeleton King looked at each other, and both of them rushed towards Prince Zhang. At the same time. Fengreo City, under the World Tree. I understand, Teacher Shu. I was really before and bit off more than I could chew. I always thought that the more God techniques are learned, the stronger my means of saving my life would be. After your enlightenment, I decided to select a few with higher upper limits. The technique is refined. Qin Lang sincerely thanked him. Teacher Shu smiled softly and said, "Any technique requires intensive study to improve. Breaking Gate is essentially just a one-link technique, but after your continuous study and use, you have unknowingly improved it. When it reaches 2nd level and 3rd level, its techniques will undergo essential changes, and the same applies to other techniques. Understood? Then I won't disturb you." Qin Lang bowed slightly and found Datao and Luoheo waiting at the door, and the 3 of them left Fengreo City. Huh? Where have they gone? Returning to Taoyuan Island, Qin Lang found that in addition to the residents, the Qin Lang trio and the Wei Juan brothers and sisters were missing. Just when he was wondering to himself, a large group of people came from a distance, led by Huang Long. He took Weni Juan's hands, one big and one small, and walked out in a hurry. Chapter 443, Dragon and Tiger Brothers. What's going on? Qin Lang walked over and asked. It's nothing, just a group of blind pirates bullying Miss Weni Juan. Huang Long briefly told Qin Lang what happened. There is nothing worth mentioning about the battle process. Emperor Dragon, Poison Poppy and Skeleton King, 3 real gods, can win against a god-level Prince Zhang and several minions, even with their eyes closed. It's a pity that we couldn't keep the captain named Prince Zhang. This little kid ran away too fast. However, we captured many of his men and freed many slaves. Huang Long pointed behind him. Qin Lang looked up and saw that there were indeed many people behind the team. Those with obvious pirate marks on their bodies had been beaten to bruises and swollen faces. The handcuffs and anklets originally used to restrain slaves were now replaced by them. It's enough to free the slaves. As for these pirates, they've killed hundreds of them. Why did they bring them back? Qin Lang said it in an understatement, which shocked the brothers and sisters of Wei Guo and Wei Juan, who were used to his smiling and kind appearance point at this time. They already know that Qin Lang is the boss of this fairy team, but how strong Qin Lang is, they cannot imagine with their poor imagination. That's what I thought too, but where did this kid go? Oh, here he is. Huang Long pulled over a white-faced scholar in the team. This guy is the second mate of the pirate group. He said that, as long as we don't kill him, he will take us to the alien sea to make a fortune. There are countless resources there. The white-faced scholar nodded repeatedly. Yes, boss, I swear I didn't lie to you. Then just leave him alone, and just kill the others. Qin Lang shrugged. It was really troublesome to not be able to figure out such a thing. Huang Long scratched his head. Yeah, Zhao. Qin. Oh no, brother Qin. Weni Juan hurriedly stopped her. They already know they were wrong. Please spare their lives. Yes, brother Qin, you have to be merciful and merciful. They were just controlled by Prince Zhang and did a lot of bad things out of necessity, I think. Weni Guo also agreed. TSK, 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 TSK. Qin Lang shook his head repeatedly, but he didn't mean to blame them. This group of people on Taoyuan Island have been protected by fragments of paradise since the end of the world and were teleported to this island. How could they know that people's hearts are sinister? It is no exaggeration to say that if this group of people were placed in any area outside, they would not survive 3 episodes. But they are not wrong. What is wrong is the world and human beings who have no bottom line. Go to work. Qin Lang hooked his fingers, and Huang Long understood instantly, and escorted all the more than 100 people away, except the white-faced scholar. We must kill them all, but we must not pollute the beautiful environment here. When the Weni brothers and sisters saw that Qin Lang was determined to kill him, they couldn't do anything to persuade him, but they were obviously more afraid of Qin Lang's attitude. While everyone is here, I have something I want to ask your permission for. Qin Lang cleared his throat. I have a place to go. The overall environment cannot be compared with Taoyuan Island, but it is relatively safe. I don't know if you are willing to move there. Don't think too much. The reason why I suggest you move is because of this. I don't know how long the island can protect you. Once the Forbidden Sea area disappears one day and an invasion like today occurs, with your strength, you will be the meat on the chopping board, ready to be slaughtered. Qin Lang didn't tell them about paradise fragments because they didn't understand it, and it was a waste of words. Don't be too anxious to reply. We won't leave here until tomorrow. Let's discuss it carefully today, brother. Huang Long, are you leaving now? Weni Juan was very reluctant to give up. Huang Long nodded seriously. Well, we have been on the island for a long time. If we stay on the island any longer, it is likely to cause disaster. If you believe your brother Huang Long, move into Fengreo City. The safety here is it's just temporary. Huang Long touched Weni Juan's head and said to Weni Guo, Guo, you are the boss of the shelter. I hope you can carefully consider my elder brother's proposal. He will not harm you. Weni Guo nodded to express his understanding. Everyone dispersed one after another. Qin Lang smiled playfully and said to Huang Long, do you like Weni Juan? Don't Say it, you really don't say it. I really like Wendy Juan's carefree and stupid character. Of course, it's just the kind of love that a brother has for his sister. It's not mixed with any other emotions. Huang Long was rarely serious. Qin Lang was a little impressed by him. If you like it, please give me some advice. Let's set off tomorrow morning to the alien sea. I think a new round of attacks from the Hell Clan is coming soon, and the guy who comes this time will definitely be scarier than the higher god. Qin Lang lay on the bed and closed his eyes. The scholar in white clothes shivered in the corner, trying his best to control his bowel movements and prevent them from becoming incontinent, because he discovered that the guy with a particularly big head sitting next to him was a middle god. Who are these guys? Help. A huge island city in the alien sea point inside the base camp point. The long table is filled with delicacies, and a group of Orioles are dancing below, which is a feast for the eyes. Old Zhang, you should have come to join us a long time ago. What's the point of bringing those incompetent subordinates with you? If something happens to you, wouldn't it be up to you, the captain, to handle it? The man who spoke was named Tenglong, and his appearance was extremely ugly. The man on the other side is named Teng Hu, and he is a very handsome guy. It's hard to imagine that these are biological brothers. The Dragon Tiger pirate group they lead is the absolute tyrant in this sea area. Alas, I won't say anything. Everything is in the wine, Prince. Zhang drank the wine in the glass and wiped his mouth fiercely. I have fallen flat on my face this time. Brother Lang, who can accept me regardless of the past. I'm grateful. After tonight, I will be the vanguard of the two brothers. You can let me be the leader of the 2nd Regiment, the leader of the 3rd Regiment, or the deputy leader, whatever. Old Zhang, what are you talking about? How can we let a strong man like you in the God realm be the leader of the 2nd Regiment? That's a waste of talent. From today on, you will be the 3rd in command of our main regiment. From now on, the 3 of us brothers will share the joys and sorrows together. That's right. After Brother Zhang has a few days to rest, we will go to that island to avenge Brother Zhang. Damn it, bullying Brother Zhang. I can't stand it. Yes, absolutely can't stand it. The 3 of them slapped the wine table. I'm going to skin that kid called Huang Lang alive. I'll leave the bitch poison poppy to Brother Long and Brother Hu. Prince Zhang's eyes were fierce, and he wanted to take Brother Long and Brother Hu to Taoyuan Island for revenge immediately. He we've played with many women, but the ones in the God realm. Hehehe. Brother Long and Tiger looked at each other and laughed evilly. Chapter 444. Hello. Early in the morning on the shore of Taoyuan Island, many people gathered to see them off point. After listening to the explanation of Wendy Guo and Wendy Juan, Qin Lang nodded. Since this is everyone's decision, I can't say anything. We will meet again, if we are destined. After discussing for most of the night, although the Wendy brothers and sisters wanted to go with Qin Lang and live in Fengreo City, the villagers voted collectively in the end. More than 80% of the people did not want to leave Taoyuan Island. Wendy Guo could only obey the majority and rejected Qin Lang's proposal. Alas, I know you are reluctant to leave a comfortable life here, but it is really unsafe. Fengreo City is much better than this, and there are gods to protect you. Huang Lang was still making the last struggle, trying to persuade everyone. Qin Lang waved his hand. Okay, don't force it. Give everyone some resource cards and we are ready to set off. Qin Lang turned back to the boat after speaking. Sister, you, brother, Huang Lang, Sister Poppy, Brother Skeleton, if you are done here, remember to come back to see me. Wei Juan cried and laughed, holding Huang Lang's hand tightly. She really couldn't bear to leave Huang Lang, the new big brother, but there was no way. Her own brother and all the familiar people were on the island. She, a little girl who just turned 18, could only go with the flow. Okay, I promise you, I will come back often. Huang Lang stuffed a bunch of cards into Wei Juan's hands, raised his hand, and said, let's go. Goodbye. Poison Poppy and Skeleton King also bowed. The boat set sail, carrying several people away from this beautiful island, and heading to the alien sea. Brother, you didn't. He seems very happy just now. The boat sailed out for a long time, and Huang Lang carefully approached Qin Lang. No. Qin Lang spread his hands. I said I won't force them. Why should I be unhappy? But, the People of Taoyuan Island are simple and honest, and the resources are abundant. I hope they can live well, but as I said, the divinity contained in Paradise Fragments has long been lost, and the disappearance of the Forbidden Sea is a matter of time. As the boss of the shelter, he doesn't care about his subordinates, and has to hold a democratic vote. It's really ridiculous. Wigo is a good person, but he is definitely not a good leader. Xiyushuki Qin Lang pointed out the problem of Taoyuan Island shelter. This is the end of the world, where people are in danger every day and the strong prey on the weak. It is not a peaceful era. How can the leader's decision be influenced by the villagers? What do you mean, brother? Huang Lang was shocked when he heard it. Qin Lang glanced at him. The current environment is full of gods, and the first gods are worse than dogs. The strongest among them is just an immortal body. What do you think will happen to Taoyuan Island once it is exposed on the map? We have been out for a short time now. If you want to go back, it's still in time. Huang Lang was very entangled, and his face twisted into a ballpoint. Skeleton King had been silent all the time, but at this time he couldn't help but speak. Boss, there is a saying that is very famous in the civilized era. I don't know if you have heard of it. Let go of the complex of helping others and respect the fate of others. It's not that Boss Qin didn't give them a chance, but they themselves are unwilling to give up the comfortable life in front of them. Let's not get involved. Just respect the blessing. Skeleton is right, and you shouldn't think of everything in the worst way. What if the fragments of heaven last for a long time? Poison Poppy also advised. Huang Long sighed. You are right. I'm just a little angry. One more thing. Qin Lang said expressionlessly. You should never let Prince Zhang go. Will he come back for revenge? Now he is alone and can go wherever he wants. Even if you want to hunt him down, you don't know where to go. You are too unreliable. This Huang Long scalp numbed. He ran too fast at that time. I really didn't want to let him go. Brother, is there any remedy? Remedy? Qin Lang said indifferently. I'm now being watched by hell. I don't know what kind of terrifying gods will emerge next. I'm like a clay Buddha crossing the river and can't save myself. Do you think I will care about the lives of others at this critical juncture? When did my image in your heart become so great? Huang Long was speechless for a moment. Every word Qin Lang said was true. At this critical moment, staying away from Taoyuan Island and not letting the disaster implicate the islanders was the best choice he could make. On the issue of Taoyuan Island, Qin Lang didn't want to say much. How many days does it take to sail to the island with rich resources and gods you mentioned? Qin Lang glanced at the white-faced scholar, who hurriedly said, it's not very far. If everything goes well, we can get there in 2 or 3 days. Xiashu.com. Qin Lang patted the guardrail. Achan, go to the place this kid said. Achan nodded and continued to ride the wind and waves. On the evening of the second day after Qin Lang and his party left Taoyuan Island, dozens of pirate groups came. Tenglong, Tenghu and Prince Zhang, 3 gods, descended on the island. Let the one called Huang Lang come out, as well as the poisonous Poppy and the Skeleton King. Prince Zhang looked down at the trembling islanders with sinister eyes. Brother Huang Lang, they have already left. Left? Oh, that sounds nice. Just run away. Prince Zhang rubbed his crotch hard, and his sinister eyes fell on Wei Juan. Little 37, your husband didn't love you well last time. Where are you going this time? If you dare to touch me, brother Huang Lang and sister Poppy will never let you go. Wei Juan's body was also shaking. She was very scared, but she couldn't do anything. She looked at her elder brother Wigo for help. Wigo's face was as hen, and he was both annoyed and regretful. If I had been tougher and listened to Qin Lang and followed him into Fengreo City, this would not have happened. But life is like this. The tolerance rate is very low. Some mistakes, once made, are a bottomless abyss. Prince Zhang laughed strangely. Scare me. Not only will I touch you, I will also let all the brothers in the group touch you together. Ha. Ha 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 ha. Brother Huang Lang, brother Qin Lang, save me. Wei Juan wanted to shout, but unfortunately she couldn't make any sound. Unnamed island. Well, there is indeed a breath of gods here. Middle level god. Eluoheo looked at the compass and said to Qin language. Let's go down and meet this island owner. Qin Lang jumped down and said to Datao, is it possible that you know the island owner here? Datao shook his head repeatedly. To answer the master, there are countless gods in the world, especially for small gods like us. The probability of not knowing each other is high, and knowing each other is a low probability event. Qin Lang smiled. Since there were no rules here, the group flew towards the center of the island. Soon they arrived at the habitat of the gods. A woman with fire all over her body stared at the existence in the sky. As a bird god, her intuition told her that this group of people were extraordinary and must not be made enemies. If they were, they would die. Qin Lang landed and looked at the god with a human head and a bird body with a smile. Hello. The woman was stunned and stammered. Hello. Chapter 445. Mockingbird in the Army of Hell. We have no ill intentions. Qin Lang first stated his attitude. I came here just to look for resources, and there is also the area card here. You don't happen to know where it is? No. Ill intentions. Well, you understand the art of language. The woman pursed her lips, turned her head, and looked at the nest not far away, and said in a low voice, I don't know where the area card you mentioned is, but if you want resource materials, there are indeed some in the nest. I'll give it to you. Thank you for your cooperation. Qin Lang smiled brilliantly. This was the first time he met such a sensible god. Those he met in the past were ants. When they opened their mouths and flesh and blood, when they closed their mouths, it was hard not to kill them. The woman waved her wings and ran to the giant nest a little clumsily, throwing a lot of inexplicable materials over, the variety and quantity of which were dazzling. There were both medicinal minerals and ashes of divine skeletons, which soon piled up into a small mountain in front of Qin Lang. Qin Lang looked down on these materials, but for ordinary gods, they were all first-class treasures and priceless. Lana Luo appeared beside Qin Lang without knowing when, and said with some surprise, this thing is not dead yet. It's a miracle. Qin Lang has become a little accustomed to Lana Luo's elusiveness, and asked curiously, do you know him? Lana Luo nodded. I know him. His name is Mockingbird, a street rat, a god that everyone in billions of races wants to kill when they see him. I have seen him in the final battle. Qin Lang was slightly stunned. Mockingbird. What a strange name. Is his technique mockery? Yes, he is one of the few gods who can comprehend the 10 rings technique, mocking the worlds. Lana Luo nodded to explain point at this time. The mockingbird had already come over with the last material in the nest with its wings. He glanced at Lana Luo and whispered, the heaven is destroyed, but the celestial gods still have descendants. TSK, they look like cauliflowers, and they still have the nerve to say that I'm a street rat. Lana Luo. Second sister, third sister, do you want to die? The mockingbird tilted its head and said in a shrill voice, oh, you are so arrogant. If you are angry, go find the Hell Clan. I didn't destroy your heaven. What's the point of bullying a middle god like me? Oh, I understand. Are you afraid to go to the Hell Clan? Are you scared, rookie? Fuck. You #hash. The third sister's eyes turned red with anger. Ahem. Qin Lang looked up at the sky and suddenly understood, while Lana Luo said that the mockingbird was almost extinct. This mouth is too mean, and every word is like a piercing blow to people's lungs. Huang Long is also good at taunting, but compared with Mockingbird, he is not even a little bit worse. After all, Mockingbird dares to taunt Lana Luo, who is much higher in rank than him. Huang Long cannot compare to him in this respect. Then the question is, has he always been so brave? That's enough. Third sister. You know the characteristics of this kind of creature. Don't get angry with him. Lana Luo touched third sister's head and calmed him down. Mockingbird sneered. Why are you pretending to be well-mannered? You're almost there. Qin Lang couldn't stand it anymore and wanted to slap him. Suddenly, Lana Luo sniffed and quietly disappeared. Smell of sulfur. The stinking maggots of hell are coming. Qin Lang also smelled the sulfur at this time, looked up, and his pupils condensed slightly. A hole was torn in the blue sky, and countless hell gods swarmed in, and their scale was many times larger than that of Broken Arm God. What is frightening is that Qin Lang felt the upper god and an extremely terrifying existence behind the army of hell gods. The upper god is fine. He has been practicing the god technique these days. It is not so easy for the other party to take him down, but the extremely terrifying existence is an existence that he must look up to. There is no possibility of trying to fight. The other party will destroy him in one breath. Don't be afraid. The master has not awakened yet. It is only his clone who came. I'm more than enough to deal with him, but you need to deal with the rest of the Hell Soldiers. Lan Luo's words were like a shot of adrenaline, which boosted Qin Lang's spirit. If you say so, I feel relieved. But I have to say, this scene is indeed a bit scary. While the two were talking, a large number of hell gods still appeared from the gap, until they were about to cover the entire sky, and the gap slowly closed. The mockingbird was stunned and stuttered. You are a small, ant-like, immortal body. How did you get the other side to send out members? This is illogical. Members? Is that what the manager meant? Qin Lang summoned the bone sword, and prepared to meet the enemy. It's just a different name. The mockingbird raised its right wing, and put it on its eyes. Good guy. You still care about this problem. I just want to know how you survive. Hehe. A huge gargoyle holding a trident came to the front of the Hell Army. Qin Lang, I finally found you. How do you plan to die? You go back to the ship. You can't get involved in this kind of battle. Qin Lang pointed his finger and opened the breakthrough gate. Huang Lang and others, including Datao, went in without a word. Only Qin Lang and the mockingbird, who tried to enter the breakthrough gate, but was a step late and hit the air head on, were left at the scene. The mockingbird widened its eyes. What do you mean? You are not one of us. Why should I let you on board? That big head just now is fine. Mockingjay was unhappy. You are patriarchal. 81. Fart. He signed a contract with me, and is my servant of God. I can also sign the contract, but forget it. I would rather die than be a servant. The mockingbird was very courageous, pinching his waist with his wings. I want to see what happens today. Qin Lang, the gargoyle was annoyed. I'm asking you something. Why don't you answer it? Qin Lang squinted his eyes and remained silent. The mockingbird smiled and said, monkey face, haven't you understood this attitude? You are a little guy and have no qualifications to talk to him. The second-hand player must have the consciousness of the second-hand player. Hurry up and bring your shrimp soldiers and crab generals to kill him. Soon take action. Get your lunchbox early and get off work early. What kind of role? What kind of lunchbox? After get off work? What on earth are you talking about? Let alone the gargoyles who don't understand. Not a single one of the gods in the sky can understand. But Qin Lang understood and almost laughed out loud, holding back to avoid giving the mockingbird a Jiva 5. The mouth damage is very annoying, but it depends on where it is used. When used on the enemy, it is simply enjoyable. I hate dawdling. The person behind the army suddenly said. The gargoyle's body trembled, and he swung his trident fiercely. Kill me. Woo. Colorful lights bloomed from the hands of countless hell gods. Qin Lang grabbed the mockingbird with his left hand, opened the breaking gate with the sword in his right hand, and escaped from the island before the gods' concentrated fire attack came down. Boom boom boom. The huge island was reduced to ashes. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 446, 1 versus 1000. Looking at the island that was blasted to pieces by the gods, even though Qin Lang was mentally prepared, he couldn't help swallowing. If they get close now, I'm afraid even the higher god will turn into ashes. Kill gods from hell. All over the sky swarmed in. These hell maggots smelled like shit. The mockingbird attacked indiscriminately, then swayed and turned into a fiery red bird, hugging the horn on the right side of Qin Lang's forehead. Qin Lang was stunned for a moment, and just as he was about to ask him what he was doing, he saw circles of ripples containing mysterious power surging out, penetrating the bodies of many hell gods. Strangely, this ripple did not cause any harm to them. The mockingbird laughed and said, you maggots, can you do it? Is this all you have? I can even poop harder than you. Ouch. Kill, 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 damn thing. Kill. Dozens of hell gods closest to Qin Lang were angered by the mockingbird's words. Their eyes turned red in an instant, and they rushed down regardless. Qin Lang used offense as defense and faced him head on. The bone sword turned into a battle axe and a hellfire burning god was unleashed. The billowing waves of fire swept in all directions, turning all the dozens of gods into ashes. At this time, hundreds of gods came from behind, but they did not get too close. They stopped a few hundred meters away, and colorful lights lit up in their hands again. They were not stupid. They knew that Qin Lang was good at melee combat techniques, and planned to use long range. The technique killed him. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Circles of mysterious ripples spread again. The mockingbird chirped, "You have been surrounded. Put down your weapons. Surrender and you will lose half the battle." Following the mockingbird's nonsense, the gods who were still charging up their power a second ago all gave up on charging up and jumped down with a roar. No matter how stupid Qin Lang is, he can see that this is the mockingbird on his head causing trouble. His technique seems to make people lose their minds instantly, and they can only use melee combat. Little Bert, you are so awesome. This discovery made Qin Lang couldn't help laughing, soaring into the sky with his flaming battle axe, striking the gods of hell. The divine fire surged into the sky, dyeing the sky red. The insane hell god died and was injured, and fell into the sea like raindrops. Suffered death. The void was suddenly torn apart, the gargoyle rushed out, and the trident pierced Qin Lang's head. Qin Lang tilted his head and smashed his battle axe down. With a clang sound, Qin Lang was knocked away dozens of meters by the force, but the gargoyle did not move at all. Absolute suppression. The gargoyle's hideous face showed an ugly smile. "Little immortal body, I kill you like killing an ant. Yo yo yo, yo yo yo." The mockingbird continued to exert its strength. Ripples surged, and he shouted in a tone of voice, "But you are so awesome." The superior god kills the immortal body, and it only knocks people back. What do you have? Are you so proud? If I were you, I would kill myself with a piece of tofu. You. The gargoyle's pupils instantly turned red, roaring and charging towards him, its trident blazing with flames. Great holy light. Qin Lang instinctively wanted to use the god technique he learned from Lan Luo, but when he thought that the extremely terrifying existence behind was still peeping, once recognized, it would probably ruin Lan Luo's plan, so he stopped abruptly. Live and deal with it with your own skills. Dang, 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 dang. The gargoyle's attack was extremely fierce. Qin Lang fought and retreated, and the arms holding the battle axe continued to bleed, because they could not withstand the terrifying power. However, Qin Lang is not afraid, because although the gargoyle is fierce, he can still last for a long time without using techniques. Clang. Another collision. Shadows intertwined. Qin Lang passed through the gate of breaking the world, and came to the sky. He gave the group of gods watching the battle an axe, and took away dozens of divine lives. You can't defeat the gargoyles anyway, so you might as well harvest some upgrade experience points. The gargoyle was furious when he saw this. Fight with me, and you dare to distract yourself, and look for other people. That's because you can't satisfy him, and keep claiming that he's an ant. You've been fighting him for a long time and you haven't hurt him yet. Why are you still calling him a stinky brother? The mockingbird hugged the horns tightly and shouted loudly, "YOU %hash." The gargoyle was really going crazy. His body suddenly turned red, like a soldering iron, and even the seawater was evaporated, forming a large mist. The breath is much more terrifying than before. Now I really can't even touch it. Qin Lang was secretly frightened in his heart. He used the gate of breaking the boundary continuously. Wherever there were many hell gods, he would drill into them. When he got there, he would hit hellfire burning god, and then he would run away without stopping for a moment. And the mockingbird is also talking nonsense. A group of ridiculed hell gods came after them with red eyes. As a result, they all became Qin Lang's experience points. During this period of chasing and escaping, Qin Lang had killed nearly half of the thousands of gods using sneak attacks. The terrifying existence covered in blood seemed to be ridiculed, and he shouted regardless, "Kill him. Kill him at any cost. Kill him, woohoo." The gods of hell seemed to have turned into a moving dark cloud, and Qin Lang was just a black spot with no sense of existence. Bionic teardrop. Qin Lang narrowed his eyes, summoned his clone, and swung his battle axe, hellfire burning god. Duo boom, boom. Two fan-shaped flames swept towards the gods one after another. Most of Wu Yun was burned and killed on the spot. Got you. From behind, the gargoyles came quietly, sweeping the trident, and driving Qin Lang into the sea, breaking more than 500 bones on his body. The speed was so fast that Qin Lang didn't even have the chance to transfer his body to his clone. Hiss, it really hurts. Qin Lang grimaced in pain. He didn't dare to come to the surface of the sea, so he just found a bunch of messy medicine in the sea and drank it. Plop, plop, plop. Countless hell gods fell into the sea and started chasing them in the sea. The scene was like dumplings. How spectacular. Seeing the gargoyle chasing after him again, Qin Lang flicked his fingers, got through the gate of the broken world, and came to the sky above the sea. Above is the motionless, terrifying existence. Qin Lang is in midair, and below is the legion of hell gods chasing him. I can't keep my hands any longer. If I keep my hands any longer, I'm afraid my life will be on the line here. Qin Lang knew that the situation was critical, raised his battle axe, and his whole body glowed with divine light. Celestial clan techniques. The terrifying being was stunned point at this moment. Qin Lang's battle axe seemed to be plated with a layer of gold, blooming with a holy and noble light. Great holy light technique. Holy hellfire burning god. Yanayang Hula. The divine fire containing divine power turned into a ball of blazing sun and hit the ridiculed legion of hell gods. These middle gods turned into nothing before they could get close. Even the gargoyles were injured by this technique, and one arm was burned. He screamed in pain. That's it? Brother, are you okay? If not, go back and call your parents. The mockingbird laughed. Chapter 447, Holy Light Fist. As the divine fire was extinguished, the dark clouds composed of hell gods disappeared without a trace point. The sky became clear again, and there were no other sounds above the sea, except the crashing waves and the screams of the gargoyles. Qin Lang looked up at the being, who had never made a move from beginning to end, but his brows furrowed tighter and tighter. There was an indescribable sense of oppression that made his soul tremble. The terrifying existence slowly descended, revealing its original appearance. This is a burly hell god. His exposed body is covered with muscles and is full of destructive power. He just looked at Qin Lang lowly and said nothing. Qin Lang felt dizzy and wet liquid flowed from his nose. Reached out and touched it. It was blood. Excellent performance. The god of hell said calmly, you can kill more than 3,000 middle gods by yourself. Among humans, you belong to the top existence. But now there is a problem. There was no expression in the eyes of the god of hell. I, the 12th chairperson of the Supreme Council, Godini, am waiting to wake up. What are you waiting for? Hehe. The gargoyle had recovered from its injuries and came to Goldeny. Why do you think the master brings so many miscellaneous fish to chase you? Hehe. The mockingbird may have ridiculed too hard before, and his voice was a little hoarse. Hell stinking maggots, open and close your mouth to show solidarity, and you can't kill each other. In fact, what you like to do most is to sacrifice your own people, and then wake up with the flesh and blood of your own people. Disgusting. So fucking disgusting. Qin Lang forced a smile and said, well, the higher god I killed before also followed your routine and sacrificed soldiers. It's not surprising at all. Godini was indifferent to the ridicule, and his voice was loud and clear, like a bell. Who taught you the celestial god technique? What is your relationship with the celestial clan? Tell me, and I will spare your life, but you will be a slave in hell. 3,000 years. What are you dreaming about? Qin Lang was talking here, and his hands were not idle. He kept pouring potions into his mouth, seizing every moment to regain his strength. He knew that from this moment on, the real battle began. If you don't tell, it doesn't matter. I have plenty of means to make you confess. Goldeny opened his scarlet right hand and murmured, return of death. Wow. Countless blood energy floating in the air, as well as the divine ashes, divine horror, and flesh and blood that fell into the deep sea turned into strands of pure divine source, which were summoned and poured into the palm of Goldeny, forming a huge blood mist. Goldeny was a little strange and murmured, huh? Why do you have so much divine source? Qin Lang secretly thought, less? That's right. When killing the hell gods, heart of all laws, and hell seeds, were absorbed one after another. Now they are all gone. It takes a lot of time to digest, and there are still some residues. You can have fun with your flesh and blood. What else do you want for a bicycle? It should be that you have something that can absorb the flesh and blood of hell gods. Goldeny shook his head. It doesn't matter. Anyway, as long as you die, everything will belong to me. Are you ready? Come, Qin. Lang held his sword across his chest, and Goldeny flipped his palms over and caught the shot in the air. Qin Lang's body trembled, and blood suddenly gushed out from his mouth and nose. He ran the Great Holy Light technique in a panic to resist this terrifying god's pollution, and then broke free from the restraints and rushed back. Goldeny failed to hit the target, so he was not in a hurry and slowly raised his palms. A huge overwhelming palm appeared in the void, making Qin Lang unable to hide and escape. Breaking gate. Qin Lang reacted very quickly and broke through the boundary to escape. But no matter how he escapes, there will always be a hand nearby in the next second, like a tarsal maggot, which is difficult to shake off. Is this the ancient god's method? It's just a shadow, so difficult to deal with. After breaking through the boundary dozens of times in a row, Qin Lang didn't even know that he had gone hundreds of kilometers away. The big hand still kept falling, and the slightest mistake would be the end of being shattered into pieces. Why doesn't Lan Luo take action? What are you waiting for, Qin? Lang was not in a hurry at first, but now he is being chased like a lost dog. He would be lying if he said he was not in a hurry. These gods are not willing to take action until the critical moment. We can't change our tactics. Don't worry about whether we can win or not. It would be good for you to give him a few cold blows to relieve my pressure. Qin Lang was complaining here, and Goldeny and Gargoyle were already rushing over from behind. He's quite capable of running. A teasing smile appeared on the corner of Goldeny's mouth. How should you avoid this move? Hell prison. The color of the world suddenly changed, and countless giant pillars descended, sealing the surrounding area to form a square box. Qin Lang instinctively used breaking gate, but ended up hitting his head so hard that it bled, and his skull was broken. The border breaking gate that can ignore all rules is ineffective against this prison. This is the fourth ring technique, also called ancient divine technique. Your border breaking gate is just a second ring. It's weird if it can be useful. Kahla, if you don't take action, we will be in trouble. The mockingbird also became anxious and roared with a hoarse voice. Almost at the same time, a bright and holy beam of light flashed through the void, too fast for people to react. Goldeny's pupils condensed. Oh my god. After saying just one word, Goldeny's body was penetrated. Lan Luo waved his rusty sword with a cold gaze. The third sister looked crazy, sticking out her long tongue and screaming, "Hell stinking maggot. Die. Die. Die." Interesting. Godana's pierced body was constantly repairing, and he smiled and said, "Everything has a reasonable explanation. You, a descendant of the god clan, are the culprit of the whole thing. Do you think you can beat me?" Lan Luo said nothing and attacked again. Holy light burst out, illuminating the earth. Qin Lang, who wanted to watch the battle, had blood in his eyes and quickly turned his head away. He was not even qualified to watch the battle between the two ancient gods. After wiping his eyes, Qin Lang fixed his eyes on the gargoyle. I can't interfere with the fight between the big guys, but it shouldn't be a problem to deal with you, upper god. The gargoyle was furious. How dare you? Do you think you can be invincible just by learning a few techniques from the celestial gods? The mockingbird said with a grin. Hey, don't tell me I'm really invincible. If you don't agree, come and have a fight, ugly ghost. Damn it. The gargoyle roared and attacked fiercely with a series of after images. Qin Lang did not retreat but advanced. Facing him head on. The great holy light technique blessed his body. He put away his bone sword, and his fists burst into holy light. Fist of holy light. Bang. The fist filled with holy light hit the trident firmly, and with a click, the trident actually shattered. Ah, what? The gargoyle's eyes almost popped out. The mockingbird spoke at the right time. Scream. Boom. Another punch full of holy light. The gargoyle face was hit hard and fell into the deep sea. Chapter 448. Cicada, Mantis and Yellow Bird. Breaking gate. Qin Lang took advantage of the victory to pursue and came to the deep sea. He punched the gargoyle's waist with a fist. The sound of a large number of broken bones was heard. The gargoyle's 7 orifices were bleeding, and his body was instantly knocked out of the water. Today, kill the god. As he spoke, the holy light on Qin Lang's fist was blazing, and all the power of the holy light was condensed. Fist of holy light. Wow. Puff. The entire head of the gargoyle was shattered by the holy light, and the headless corpse fell to the sea again. Qin Lang swung his big tail and pierced it, using the characteristics of the big tail to absorb the flesh and blood of the gargoyle point. Although it was 2 against 1, the victory was somewhat inconclusive, but this was Qin Lang's true killing of the higher god, and the joy in his heart was difficult to describe in words. Qin Lang raised his hand and grabbed the mockingbird holding the horn and said with a smile, "Little bird, do you want to hang out with me in the future? Without your help, I would not have been able to kill him so smoothly. Whatever conditions you want, just mention it." At this time, the mockingbird was very tired, and his throat was hoarse. He let Qin Lang hold it, tilted his head and said, "I'm sleepy, let's talk after waking up." Yawn. "Then, I'll take you to the boat first." Qin Lang broke the boundary and put the mockingbird on the boat. Without saying anything, he rushed back to the battlefield. But what he didn't expect was that Lan Luo and Jedani had already disappeared. Lan Luo shouldn't be able to defeat this Jedani, right? He has not awakened, and he has not intercepted much flesh and blood energy. Just when he was thinking wildly, Lan Luo walked out of the void covered in blood, holding a bloody head in his right hand. It was none other than Godani. "Take it, Lan." Luo threw Godani's head to Qin Lang with a cold expression. "Although I hate hell maggots extremely, it is undeniable that the hell tribe has many practical high-level techniques. You need to be careful when learning, and don't drive yourself crazy. You are still weak." Qin Lang found that among the 3 sisters Lan Luo, except for the head in the middle of Lan Luo, the second sister and the third sister all had their heads lowered and remained silent. Lan Luo turned into a broken shadow, and his voice came to his ears. "I have benefited a lot from this battle. I need to sleep for a while to improve my strength. Before I wake up, be careful." "Wait a minute, Lan Luo, are you okay? Are you injured?" Qin Lang shouted several times but no one responded. He had obviously asleep. Qin Lang held Godani's head, returned to the fallen ship, shut himself into the cabin without saying a word, and immediately began to digest the benefits of this battle point. Both the heart of all laws and hell seed are in a full state. This battle can be described as a complete victory. While he was happy, Qin Lang also felt more and more depressed. This was only the 3rd attack, and the Hell Clan sent out the ancient god's clone. According to this rule, the next time it comes, it is very likely that it will be the real ancient god Godani. You must become stronger immediately and break through as soon as possible. Only by becoming the first god can you truly gain a foothold in this apocalyptic world full of gods. The feeling of becoming stronger reached its peak at this moment. At the same time in a deserted castle, filled with the smell of sulfur, a sculpture sheds blood. Jedani's voice was cold. "The Celestial Clan. Qin Lang, I finally know your secret, and you can kill my clone. Haha, interesting. It's so interesting. I'm looking forward to our next meeting. This day will be soon." Godani's voice stopped suddenly, and 2 mysterious forces descended on the castle in front of the castle gate. "Well, it turns out it's hidden here." The old man's voice was ancient. He slowly opened the door and looked directly at the Godani sculpture with his cloudy eyes. "This breath, you are." Godani exclaimed. A witch with eyeballs all over her body walked out from behind the old man. The witch has a voluptuous figure and exposed clothes, and let out a series of charming laughter. "Goose goose, Jiang is still old and spicy, pretending to leave Qin Lang, but in fact she is secretly planning to track down the mastermind behind the scenes through clues. I like this kind of calculation very much. There is a saying in human beings, the mantis catches the cicada, but the oriole leaves behind. You use it very well. What do you want to do? An ancient god is about to awaken, but it's a big supplement. What do you think we are going to do?" The witch smiled sweetly. "If you dare to attack me, the Hell Clan will not let you go. Do you also want to be watched? As long as I don't kill you, you won't be watched." The old man said calmly, "Although the method is a bit cruel, for you Hell Tribe, no matter how cruel it is, it can't be too cruel." The words fell. Two big hands appeared in the void and grabbed Goldany, unable to move at all. This is the power of the ancient gods. You have reached the ancient gods? This is impossible. Goldany yelled, but there was nothing he could do. The witch ducked in front of Goldany and inserted her slender jade fingers into his head. The heart is a great source of nourishment. The body structure of the Hell tribe is unique, with the heart and important organs growing inside the skull, and the devil's horns are powerful defensive organs. You are my divine source. Stop struggling, it's useless. The witch opened her small mouth on the cherry and bit it hard. The old man showed a faint smile and bit into the body of the statue with his empty mouth. This bloody and strange scene lasted for 3 full days and nights. The witch let out a hearty and proud shout. It's so comfortable. I can feel the power of the ancient god returning. The old man glanced at her and said quietly, you just said that the mantis stalks the cicada and the oriole follows behind. What do you mean? The witch pinched her waist and smiled. This is a proverb from humans. The cicada, mantis and yellow bird represent 3 kinds of creatures. The mantis caught the cicada and thought it could have a good meal, but it didn't expect a yellow bird to fly over and peck it to death. The mantis seems powerful, but it is just food for the yellow bird. Oh, that's it. The old man nodded thoughtfully. So, Goldany, you and me, who is the cicada, who is the mantis, and who is the yellow bird? The witch said happily, there is no yellow bird here. Goldany is a cicada, and we are both mantises. I don't think it's right. The old man shook his head. I'm the yellow bird. The witch was stunned for a moment, and after discovering that her body was imprisoned at some point, her smile froze and she cursed. Damn it. Damn old thing. What do you want to do? The old man said faintly, you don't really think that I will treat the succubus as a partner? You want to eat me? The witch's forehead was sweating, and her body was shaking. No, I'm going to give you to someone as a reward for leading me to Goldany. Who? Your old acquaintance. Qin Lang. You. The witch was furious. What on earth do you want to do? The old man smiled sinisterly. You'll know when you meet him. All the eyes on the witch were shining, but it was useless. He had just returned to the ancient god, and his strength was at its weakest. How could he be compared with the old man? You bastard bug, you lied to me. You actually lied to me. Chapter 449 Information Explosion. After the bloody battle with the Hell Legion, Qin Lang finally came out of his retreat after half a month. His face was a little pale, and there were some white hairs in his black hair, which was obviously caused by overusing his brain. Fortunately, he was in a good mental state, and his eyes were bright. Huh? Why are you back to Taoyuan Island? Qin Lang came to the deck and looked down. He saw many tents on the beach, and people were swaying around the bonfire, having a barbecue party. Brother, boss. Qin, brother, Qin. After seeing Qin Lang, everyone stopped what they were doing and greeted Qin Lang. Qin Lang jumped off the boat and nodded to everyone. Wang Long ran over. Brother, do you know what happened during the retreat? Qin Lang narrowed his eyes. Is someone looking for trouble and keeping me in suspense? Huang Long coughed dryly. No joke. Let's talk business. Didn't you retreat that day? Huang Long tried to describe what happened in the past half month to Qin Lang in simple language. After Qin Lang closed his eyes that day, Huang Long and his men discussed and decided to meet the strongest pirate group in the alien sea, the Dragon and Tiger Pirates. Z. According to the information given by the white-faced scholar, there is no third god there, except the Dragon Brothers and Tiger Brothers, so this battle is bound to win, no matter how you look at it. Bullying the weak and fearing the strong is what the Huang Long trio likes to do the most. But when the boat arrived at the main island, the slaves who were imprisoned told them that not long ago, Prince Zhang had come to the main island alone to visit the Dragon Brothers and Tiger Brothers, and they left together the next day. Hearing this, Huang Long was scared and sweated profusely, and immediately asked the boat to turn the bow back to Taoyuan Island. He thought that Taoyuan Island would become a ruin and corpses would be everywhere under the attack of the 3 gods, but he never expected that it was Prince Zhang, Tenglong, Tenghu and the hundreds of pirates who died, and the local islanders were not hurt at all. After finding the Weni brothers and sisters and asking them, they learned that when the 3 gods descended that day, everyone was in despair. Just when Prince Zhang was about to insult Wei Juan in public, a ray of light appeared and entered Wei Juan's body. Then Wei Juan, as a god, easily killed the 3 gods and hundreds of pirates in seconds. The other party had no chance to fight back, or even escape. Knowing that Qin Lang was in seclusion, a group of islanders who had escaped death decided to set up a tent on the sofa and wait for Qin Lang to come out of seclusion, so that they could go back to Fengreo's city with him. To put it bluntly, it's that sentence: people can't teach people. Things can teach people once. Light. Qin Lang picked up Wei Juan's collar and took a look. On her snow white chest, there was indeed a small fragment embedded in the flesh and blood, emitting a very powerful divinity. Logically speaking, the fragment of heaven has lost its divinity and will be damaged at any time. Why? Qin Lang didn't understand. This involved things related to God, which contained too many secrets that only God could answer. The islanders are a group chosen by the fragments of heaven. When they encounter danger, the protective desire of the fragments of heaven is activated, and the fragments of heaven choose Wei Juan as its spokesperson. Lana Luo is elusive, as usual. The second sister smiled and said, "This is a win-win situation. As long as Wei Juan's strength is improved enough, she will become a humanoid safe zone with a wide radiation range. Unless those ancient old guys take action, almost nothing can hurt the people around her." The third sister stuck out her tongue. Her eyes were messy. "It's been a long time since I reproduced. Qin language. Qin Lang. No, sister, you. Dung." Lana Luo gently knocked on the third sister's head and said angrily, "Third sister, don't make trouble. We are talking about business here." "That head, how did you absorb it?" Lana Luo asked seriously. Qin Lang quickly gathered his mind and answered Lana Luo's words. During the half-month of seclusion, he learned no less than 30 techniques through Heart of All Laws, Hellseed, and Head of Godany, and once again fell into the situation of too many, but not complicated. Others usually worry about not being able to master a second ring technique, while Qin Lang is troubled by the fact that there are too many second ring techniques, and he doesn't know which one to use. Humans' joys and sorrows are not the same. I guessed that you would encounter this problem, and it is actually very easy to solve. Lana Luo slightly gently. The premise is that you must first upgrade to the initial god, and then go to the divine realm to find the melt altar, melt all the extra techniques you have mastered into technique essence, and then find the ring up tower and use the technique essence to upgrade the commonly used techniques. In this way, you can master several third and fourth ring techniques in the initial god realm, and your combat effectiveness will undergo a qualitative change. Qin Lang's forehead was covered with many black lines. This is not difficult, it sounds so complicated. But as a frequent gamer, Qin Lang understood the general principle as soon as he heard it. No matter what, you still have to be promoted to the initial god first. This is a hard condition, but the progress is less than half. Qin Lang looked at the progress, which was only 43%. He had to kill nearly 6,000 gods to build the Bridge of Gods. It's too damn hard to be a key refiner. Don't worry about it. As I said before, being watched by hell is both a good thing and a bad thing. Godana's body will come to you sooner or later. Lana Luo reached out and grabbed Qin Lang's wrist. Qin Lang, okay, we've finished the business. It's time to reproduce. Let's try to catch up with the progress. We wasted a full 15 days. No, Lana Luo, wait a minute. If you do this, someone will die. Hey, help. The third sister yelled. Reproduce. 3 days and 3 nights later, Qin Lang stumbled and fell from the void. Huang Lang was very considerate and immediately offered a plate of kidney tablets. Skeleton King and Poison Poppy handed over a handful of kidneys, tiger penises, deer penises and other foods. Looking at the trio's caring chuckles, Qin Lang felt warm and wanted to slap them. Can you do it, little dog? Can't stand it after just 3 days. Humans are really a fragile race. A beautiful woman in red said with contempt and sneer. You don't need to guess. She is the mockingbird. I thought you left. Qin Lang stuffed food into his mouth while talking. When he came out of seclusion 3 days ago, he didn't see the mockingbird. Where Can I go? Do you think you are the only one being watched by hell? I tell you, I will rely on you for the rest of my life. Wherever you go, I will go. The mockingbird rolled its eyes. Qin Lang grumbled and didn't respond. He continued to eat to replenish his energy. By the way, didn't you ask me the other day what conditions were needed to get along with you? I've thought about it. You said, as long as I can do it, I will do it. From the combat level, the combat power he can exert with and without the mockingbird is two different things. My tribe has almost been killed. I have to reproduce. I think you are pretty good. What do you think? The mockingbird clumsily pulled the red dress, revealing its snow white thighs. Come, take a look at your legs. Are they tempting? Can you spare me? What do you think of me? A human being? Qin Lang was really angry and scared. Now when he heard about reproduction, his head hurt. If you can't do it, then you can't do it, you useless piece of shit. Qin Lang was immediately furious. Who the hell are you saying can't do it? Let's go inside. Chapter 450, Alliance with Hell. An ancient castle shrouded in evil aura, exuding a choking sulfur smell all the time. As an old man slowly walked in, the sculptures in front of the castle gate all made a clacking sound, as if alive. They were of different shapes and sizes, but the only thing in common was that, after feeling the breath of the ancient god on the old man, their eyes were full of fear. The old man ignored the upper gods around him and just walked slowly towards the castle gate. He stopped in front of the door for a moment, without saying a word. Suddenly, the rusty door rumbled open. Although I don't know why Lord Void is visiting, we welcome him. The short nobleman stood up first to greet him, and the 10 masters around him also stood up and bowed slightly. A powerful, ancient god, awakened at this stage is enough to make any race bow their noble heads. The old man slowly walked into the meeting hall, slightly nodded, and said straight to the point, the human you are hunting, Qin Lang, is my spokesperson. The nobleman was slightly stunned. So, what you mean is, I have all the information about him. Can it be used as a sincerity to form an alliance with hell? The nobleman waved his hand, motioning his colleagues to take a seat, and pointed to the last seat. If you don't mind, please take a seat. This seat once belonged to Gadani. Point there. Old man interrupted the nobleman, and pointed to his chest. He has been devoured by me, otherwise I would not have found this. Why do you want to devour Gadani? The nobleman said unhappily. Do you know that this behavior is a provocation to the Hell Clan? There is not much special meaning. I'm just hungry. The old man took a seat and spoke in a calm tone. Strength. This is more like a threat. We, Hell Clan, are not easy to bully. What you did is equivalent to declaring war. You devoured a middle level god. Even if it was a higher level god, it doesn't matter, but you devoured the master. You, the 10 masters accused one after another, very angry. Gadani is not strong enough, and Lord Void was not our ally before this. The law of the jungle is not unreasonable. We Hell Clan have always worshipped the strong and despised the weak. I will make the decision on this matter. No need to say more. The nobleman raised his hand to signal for silence. What secrets does Qin Lang have? Why can he kill the upper god at the level of immortal body? This is not in line with common sense. Can Lord Void give an explanation? Of course, the old man nodded, because he is accompanied by a god clan named Lan. What? God clan? This is impossible. The god clan has long been extinct. How can he escape the wish of that lord? The hosts were shocked at first, and then shook their heads, not believing it. It was not until the old man raised his hand and played the clip that the scene became quiet. After seeing the battle between Lan and Gadani clearly, the noble one nodded. It seems that everything makes sense now. This is indeed the remnant of the God clan. Lord Void, why did you choose our Hell Clan as your ally? The old man's eyes were cloudy, and he said calmly, because the Hell Clan is strong enough and has what I need. The reason for the failures in the previous few times was that we chose the wrong allies. The noble one laughed and slammed the table hard. Lord Void, we like to hear this. I will convey your wishes to the big man. So, before the formal alliance, can you help us kill the remnant of the God clan? The God Clan and the Hell Clan are natural enemies. They have too many ways to restrain the Hell Clan. Means. The old man stood up and quietly, gently, as you wish, I will kill Qin Lang as well. But, the noble clapped his hands vigorously, and a token fell in front of the old man. All the Hell Clans in Prison Realm are at the disposal of Lord Void. Why? Do you need to drive the Hell Clan to kill a human who has not become a god and a remnant of a god who has not reached the ancient god realm? Lord Void, I misunderstood. This is just a small sincerity released by our Hell Clan. After all, I have seen your heroic appearance in the final battle, and know that you will get hungry quickly. The old man said no more, put away the token, turned around and left the Supreme Council. Lord, can you trust the words of the God of Void? The female manager on the right side of the noble spoke. Point the Sublime. Based on my understanding of the Void God, the alliance is very credible. The male manager on the left of the Sublime said faintly, it's still a long way to the final battle, and the strong have not yet emerged. Is it too early for him to make this layout? The Sublime nodded. Let's see if he can fulfill his promise. On the deck of the boat. Stay away from me, I'm bothering you. Qin Lang's face was flushed, and his steps were rubbing around the guardrail. Not far behind him was a stunning beauty in red. She followed awkwardly with her skirt, looking very aggrieved. Why are you angry? Isn't what I said the truth? You keep saying kill me, but am I not alive and well? Besides, I said you are too weak, like you haven't eaten, and it's not nonsense. Damn, can you shut up? Qin Lang's forehead was throbbing with veins. He had naively thought that breeding with the mockingbird was just a deal, but he never expected it to be the beginning of a nightmare. His self-esteem was shattered into pieces, and it would take time to pick them up piece by piece. Which man can tolerate a woman who mocks him when the sound is crackling and always says something that hurts his lungs, such as, it's really not pleasant at all, no feeling at all. Oh, I thought you were so strong, but this is it, you stinky brother, did you not eat? Hey, you human women are really unlucky. TSK, you are strong when you are angry with me, but you fall short when it comes to the critical moment. The mockingbird rolled its eyes. Go away, I won't. Qin Lang covered his head and screamed to the sky. Finally, he couldn't stand it anymore, so he jumped and plunged into the sea. Brother. Huang Long, what's wrong with brother Qin? Wei Ju and bit her popsicle with a curious look on her face. Huang Long sighed. You are still young, I can't explain it to you clearly, you will know when you grow up. When you find a partner, you must find someone with good health. I have been with my elder brother for so long, but I didn't know that he had problems in that area. Poor him. Huang Long. If you keep talking nonsense, I will beat you to death. The roar of a red-hot man came from the sea. That evening, Qin Lang was absorbing the knowledge in the god he had in the cabin, and the boat told him that he had arrived at an island. Qin Lang stood at the window and looked out. Sure enough, there was a large island in the distance. The island was shrouded in a large area of fog, and the soil on the island was dark red. There is no record of this island on the nautical map. Is it a new island that has appeared recently? Qin Lang came to the bow and looked out. The animal horn spread like radar, analyzing various information. It doesn't look like a new island, otherwise there would be no human breath. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.